All right, you and I are diving into a story where a guy gets sucked into a comic and meets his dream goddess. But knowing how this story ends, he realized a brutal truth. Weak as he is now, he can't protect her. So, to keep her safe and happy, he decides to become her ultimate bad guy. Your little game is over, Egostic. Not bad today. Guess that's why I made you my rival. Please, I don't need praise from a total loser like you. So you're the punk who keeps messing up my plans and getting in my face. This is probably our last little playtime. You're all grown up now, which means you're no fun anymore. So consider this my final goodbye, because you won't see me again. Later, Sardis. And just like that, he jumped straight off the roof. Confused out of her mind, she rushed to the edge, trying to make sense of what just went down. To understand any of this, we have to rewind a few years. Our guy's name is Kim Dane. Sure, at first glance, this place looked like a normal, modern city, but it was totally different from his old home. Here, crazy villains pull off attacks daily, while caped superpowered heroes fly around trying to save the day. That's when it hit him. He was trapped inside the universe of his favorite superhero comic, Stardust. So he makes a wild choice. He'll become a customized villain just for her. Calling himself Egostic, his starting plan is incredibly simple: hunt down other bad guys. Watch closely here, because his future knowledge is his biggest cheat code. He starts taking out major threats while they are still weak before they can trigger massive disasters. There's no way he's letting any punk hurt his favorite hero, Stardust. Plus, thanks to knowing the plot, he ended up waking up some insane powers. Before long, he locks onto target number 1. Turns out, Egostic can instantly teleport. The second he warps right next to the bad guy, he unleashes his next power, telekinesis. He drops the guy without even breaking a sweat. The loser was literally studying blueprints for a local department store. Yep, he was plotting a major attack. In the original timeline, this dude eventually becomes a terrifying S-rank threat. He was supposed to wear a rhino mask and turn into a monster who slaughters hundreds of innocents. Suddenly, a call comes through Stardust's comms. The Hero Association picked up gunshots. Get to the scene within 5 minutes. But before bouncing, Egostic leaves behind his calling card. Later on, the association confirms the dead guy is actually a C-rank baddie named Rhino. Looking at how clean the job was, they figure it's the same mystery killer who took out that massive A-rank threat and Zodia. Stardust vows to drag him in herself. Meanwhile, the internet goes absolutely wild with the news. Some mysterious villain clapped a C-rank bad guy. Now people are asking if he only hunts down other criminals, doesn't that make him a hero? Even if you throw these guys in jail, they always break right back out anyway. You see what's happening right now. The public loves him for doing the hero's dirty work, and it's driving our guy absolutely insane. What am I gonna do? How do I fix this? Yo, what are you even rambling about? Keep your voice down, says Hanso, a genius power user. Because he wiped out a villain, everyone thinks he's a good guy. At this rate, Egostic's reputation just keeps climbing. And if that happens, everyone will hate on the hero trying to catch him. Stardust's reputation will totally tank, so he needs to stop this right now. He has to convince the world that Egostic is a certified dangerous supervillain. And that's how he plans his official debut. He straps on a bunch of explosives and gets ready to roll. His target is a massive 111-story tower, a famous tourist spot with views everyone has been waiting to see. Suddenly, his voice blasts over the speakers. What's up, everyone? I'm the villain Egostic, the guy who put Rhino and Enzadia 6 feet under. I'm not going to bore you guys with the long speech. Take a look. I've rigged both sides of this tower with heavy bombs and started a live stream. Now, let the games begin. A great villain needs an equally great hero to play with. So, Stardust, the protector of this area, you better hurry up and get your butt over here. He does a quick outfit check. Cape, mask, and robe. All set. Honestly, he is super hyped because he's finally meeting her face to face. This isn't just some drawing on a page anymore. This is real life, and she is the A-rank hero, Stardust. When he first dropped into this place, he literally begged God to send him back to his boring old life. But seeing Stardust with his own eyes changed everything. This really is her universe, meaning if he plays his cards right, he might actually get to stand by her side. Since he read that comic a million times, he knew the truth better than anyone. Stick around. You and I are about to see a guy realize that being a hero won't save the girl he loves. To protect her, he's got to take a much darker path. He has to become her personal villain. So he tells the crowd, "Freeze, do not even move." My underling is running this live stream right now. He's also got the detonator, so do not try playing hero with force. So, how do you like the epic stage I built for you? Stardust is absolutely livid, calling him a total psycho. She demands he free the hostages immediately so she can beat his face in and throw his butt in prison. Since that is the wish of Stardust, the ultimate symbol of justice, yeah, sure, I will let them go. But just letting them walk away is way too boring. Get this, if anyone rides the elevator down, the bomb on the opposite observation tower goes off. There are exactly 30 minutes left before the bombs detonate. So everyone better hurry up and hit that button. I mean, none of you even know each other. Letting random strangers blow up will not hurt your conscience, right? Stardust is boiling with rage, but her hands are completely tied. Now pay attention because he wants to show everyone how selfish humans are in this game of agnostic. And inside the tower, everyone is thinking the exact same thing. If the crowd on the other side hits the button first, then everyone on their side is toast. And even if they choose not to push it, who says the other side is going to play nice? Stardust knows that even if she blitzes Agnostic right now, other detonators could be hidden anywhere. Countless people could still end up dead. So she confronts him. Is treating humans like toys really that fun? The real fun is not them, it is you, Stardust. You are one of the few A-rank heroes who actually believes in justice. And you would never play nice with evil. Honestly, I respect that. But she has zero clue what he is playing at. But honestly, Kim Dane just wants to hype her up in front of the entire country. Since you look so lost, let us get you in the game. I'm connecting you live to all the people praying for a hero. If you can talk them out of pushing that button before the 30 minutes are up, the bombs will not explode. Stardust demands to know why she should trust him, but Agnostic just says it is still better than doing nothing. With that, Kim Dane vanishes into thin air. The very next second, every single drone and camera locks onto Stardust. Stardust starts her big speech. She tells them, I am the A-rank hero, Stardust, and I believe in human goodness. And this is exactly what Kim Dane wanted. He wants the world to remember that the guy bringing chaos is the villain. Honestly, you can tell this entire stage was built for her to shine. Let us see if it works. Her speech actually works and convinces everyone. In the end, the bombs do not explode. Kim Dane takes this moment to pop back in and drop his classic dramatic bad guy speech. Those selfish humans actually refused to push the button. No way! In a spot like this, someone should have cracked. There had to be at least one greedy person like me. There is no way humans are actually that selfless. But Stardust shuts him down immediately, saying humans are not that selfish, and deep down, human nature is good. Kim Dane plays the defeated villain perfectly, pointing dramatically right at Stardust. This only happened because of you, but next time, I am winning. Just as Stardust throws a massive punch at him, Kim Dane's body slowly glitches away, his eyes locked on her fierce, heroic gaze. The crowd goes wild, chanting Stardust's name while Kim Dane teleports away to safety. But the second he lands, his entire body collapses. Turns out his teleportation has a brutal side effect. The physical damage he takes is directly tied to the distance he travels. Looks like he is stuck in bed for at least 2 days. Suddenly, a voice nearby asks, "Did I not tell you to ditch that hat? It looks totally cringe, like a cheap villain outfit. Dude, just give me some water. I am dying over here." His drinking style is a bit weird, but he gets it down. Meanwhile, the breaking news starts blasting on TV. A massive villain attack with 0 casualties. That jerk Agostic was literally playing with human nature. She vows that next time, she is absolutely catching him. Over at the Hero Association, a massive emergency meeting is called because of the nationwide incident. The A-rank villain Agostic had just caused total chaos. They start breaking down Agostic's profile. He is a male who wears a mask that somehow scrambles people's perception of him. We already know all this basic stuff, so just skip to yesterday's crazy incident. He used teleportation to plant those bombs, and you and I cannot miss what happens next. All right, y'all, stick with me here as we check out this high-performance homemade bomb that could have vaporized the entire observation deck. Did he actually build it alone? Plus, that hacking mess is still a total mystery. No one knows how they slipped past the newest defense system. And checking the stream, there was zero sign of any hacker-type skill user on site. Basically, Agostic has to have some genius tech assistant backing him up in the shadows. Maybe that mystery partner built the bombs. And honestly, this villain dude seems totally obsessed with our girl Stardust. I mean, look at those creepy messages he keeps leaving for her at the crime scenes. The president of the Korean Hero Association, Park Jun-ho, stared at Stardust and asked,
"You met him face to face. What is your vibe on him?"
Stardust basically called him a total psycho who plays mind games and has the brains to pull off massive terror attacks. No doubt about it, he is a major threat. Cut to 2 days later in Kim Dane's room. My man was still lying there looking half dead thanks to his powers backfiring. Supremely thirsty, he drags himself up to grab some water. Bro, did you chug straight from the bottle again? Kim Dane is like, no way, not me. Han So-in is the girl constantly calling him bro. In the original comic, this girl actually grows up to be an S-rank villain and a master hacker. Which is exactly why Kim Dane keeps her close. She complains, bro, this is my place. Why are you acting like you own it? Kim Dane fires back. Did I not pay rent? By the way, Han Swan lives in a basement. She reminds him again that his lips better not touch the water bottle. He is just like, got it. Kim Dane pats her head and says he gets it. But honestly, they have got way bigger fish to fry right now. Remember that girl Lee Subabin you mentioned? She is my top candidate for the assistant job, the internet active one. The one you said was a massive egostic fangirl? Well, the television just showed her right at the scene. Egostic copycats were taking hostages and causing absolute chaos over there. They even rigged the whole building with explosives. At first, Kim Dane thinks she got dragged into this as a hostage, but that masked chick is actually Lee Subabin. These fake egostic cultists refuse to negotiate, screaming they only care about pure chaos and death. 3 cops are already down, and 300 hostages are still trapped inside. Kim Dane tells Soin, our golden rule is we never hurt civilians. So these punks have to go. You are helping me right now. She is like, let's see how you do first. Now watch closely as Stardust begs to go in, but her boss orders her to stay put. If she charges in, these crazy criminals might execute the civilians. Stardust blames this entire mess on Egostic. Back in the day, only actual superpowered villains pulled off crazy stunts like this. No bad guy had ever mixed powers bombs and hacking so perfectly. By backing her into a corner, Egostic basically gave every low-life copycat a masterclass in terror. She never saw copycats coming. But the very next day, Stardust gets a shocking alert. Egostic just showed up at the crime scene, and he is live streaming on YouTube. She pulls up her phone, and boom, there he is. Egostic is casually walking inside like he owns the joint. The masked goons are hyped, screaming, our hero Lord Egostic is here. He is gonna wreck these foolish cops. Meanwhile, Kim Dane is extremely sore from that long-distance teleport, and he blames every bit of it on them. 3 o'clock. That guy by the pillar has the detonator. Locking on, he uses telekinesis to drop him. But wait, you see that reaction? They instantly realize he is not their leader, Egostic. He is just a hero dog pretending to be Lord Egostic, they yell, instantly aiming their guns. I definitely do not need brainless fans like you guys, Kim Dane says, ripping their weapons away with telekinesis. He starts wiping them out. Meanwhile, the stream chat is losing its mind. Is he not on their side? Why is he taking them out? Stardust gets her green light and storms the building. Her job is to save the hostages from both the terrorists and Egostic. Soon, only one bad guy is left when a voice cracks in his ear. Bro, do not kill her. Swan checks the logs and confirms the girl was dragged there against her will. Terrified that she is about to get blasted, the poor girl starts sobbing. Kim Dane rips off her mask and, surprise, it is Lee Sububin, the very girl they were hunting for. She is weeping, apologizing like crazy. Kim Dane looks at her and asks why she is crying so hard. He turns to the hostages and apologizes, saying, I did not plan this, but this fake crime happened because of me. So I gotta take the blame. And honestly, you and I are probably just as shocked as the stream chat. All right, let's jump into a story about the world's weirdest villain who literally promises to send compensation money straight to his hostages' bank accounts. He begs them to check their balances and even publicly apologizes to the 3 victims who tragically lost their lives, vowing to transfer the absolute maximum compensation to their grieving families. Kim Da-in knows full well that transferring cash through dummy accounts is extremely risky, since the cops can easily trace it, but honestly, he has bigger fish to fry. Suddenly, So-eun's voice buzzes in his ear. She tells him to bring the girl along, so Da-in throws her over his shoulder. But after spamming his long-distance teleportation earlier, his battery is completely on empty. Now keep your eyes on the screen. With a massive boom, Stardust crashes in, dead set on finally catching Egostic. She lunges forward but totally whiffs because Da-in's legs give out. By the time she recovers, he is already teleported away into thin air. Shortly after, a local college campus is buzzing over the news of a villain actually paying off his victims. Netizens have even given Egostic a hilarious nickname, Mango Stick. College student Shin Haru stares at the news looking stressed out. Her senior, Kim Ji-hoon, asks if she is struggling with her homework. She claims she is fine and just spaced out. But secretly, this girl is the A-rank hero, Stardust. While on duty, she uses a high-tech perception filter to mask her face, keeping her double life as a student a total secret. But obviously, Haru is anything but ordinary. Right now, her brain is completely occupied by Egostic the villain, who claimed all humanity is purely selfish. If so, why rescue the hostages? Ji-hoon pinches her cheeks, teasing her for making that zombie face again. He tells her to snap out of it and offers to buy mango shaved ice. Naturally, Haru is instantly tempted. But the word mango immediately triggers thoughts of the villain Mango Stick. Her face twists with annoyance again, leaving Ji-hoon shocked that even sweet mango dessert cannot cure her mood. That damn villain has totally taken over her mind, and she is desperate to unmask him. You and I both know mango ice is irresistible, right? But while she is eating, let's check out this ordinary suburban house. Once you step past the front door, you will spot a hidden secondary entrance right next to the hallway. Slide that second door open, and you will find an elevator waiting with open doors. Key in the secret passcode, and the lift drops you deep down dozens of floors underground. They arrive at Egostic's secret headquarters, but So-eun immediately snaps, asking why he is claiming her house as his own. He jokingly replies that they should not draw lines, since what is hers is basically his anyway. But right as he gets carried away, he shifts his leg, and a sudden wave of sharp pain makes him yell out. It is the brutal recoil from his teleportation. So-eun yells at him for being a drama queen after carrying one person. Carrying a passenger doubles the fatigue, explains Han So-eun, their resident super genius. Though that is not why Da-in hired her. Her custom fatigue recovery pills are a literal lifesaver. Right then, Lee Subin returns from a grocery run, casually asking if anyone wants snacks. Da-in freezes, asking how a wanted fugitive is casually walking outside. She simply explains that she hid her face with her bangs. Da-in sighs, telling her that doing that only makes her look way more suspicious. Hearing the word snacks, So-eun rushes over. Da-in can't help but wonder if they recruited Subin just to run their errands. He asks So-eun why she wanted him to rescue Subin. She replies that they desperately need a talented assistant. Since she hasn't actually committed any serious crimes yet, taking her in was an easy choice. But Da-in is totally against housing a potential terrorist. Who knows if she will start blasting inside their base? In reality, Subin never wanted to join the attack. She was dragged along by crazy cultists. Your name is Lee Subin, right? I know literally everything about you. Your parents were researchers at Hunan Group, right? A shocked Subin asks how she knows, and So-eun reveals she read her dark web posts. You want revenge too, don't you? You posted about wanting an eye for an eye to make those monsters suffer like your parents did. We've also been hunting the leaders of Hunan Group because we are victims of theirs too. Only when we track those corrupt bosses down and completely crush them can this hatred finally be settled. And that's where we leave it, with Da-in realizing Subin was another tragic victim of the Han-eun group. All right, you and I are jumping into this story where our main character recruits Seo with promises of sweet revenge. Naturally, he is trying to stop her from turning into the S-rank villain she was in the original novel. Then we have Lee Subin, a total ghost from the original story, who probably had zero screen time back then, which means she is probably harmless, though he still has no clue if she will actually be useful. Trauma sisters unite. These two bond instantly, crying their eyes out, while Kim Dane stands there completely lost at how fast they became besties. Just like that, Se-eun's whole tomboy disguise completely crumbles. Yep, you heard that right. So-eun was pretending to be a guy this entire time. Kim Dane decides to mind his own business and just take a nap. Meanwhile, some creep is forcing a girl to have dinner with him, hitting her with the generic excuse. Why the sad face, babe? Luckily, a cop rolls up and tells him he's under arrest for domestic violence and needs to come to the station. The thug tells him to beat it, but the officer stays cold as ice. That's resisting arrest, pal. You're coming with me. The guy just laughs. You're just a cop. Why the big attitude? Then he activates his power, teleports the officer straight to a rooftop, and literally kicks him off the edge. Meet the A-rank villain, Kim Hopchul. Now pay attention, because this jerk was actually more popular than real heroes in the original story, which directly pushed a certain girl to become a future supervillain. The S-rank menace, the White Witch, Han Sen. Her future rival is still Stardust, but right now, she is nowhere near that god-level status yet. I mean, she is literally throwing a massive tantrum just because Kim Dane drank some of her juice. Lee Subin quickly steps in, saying she actually finished it and promises to buy some more later. The moment Shoin hears her sister drank it, her rage instantly vanishes, and she is totally fine with it. Kim Dane realizes this girl only has beef with him, so he decides to tease her right then and there. So you finally done playing dress up as a dude. That single line turns her face tomato red. Han Soon was actually a super genius ability user. She was the sole survivor of the Hanan Group's Enlightenment Project, where they did highly illegal human experiments on hundreds of kids. Then one day, an unexpected side effect popped up in one of the kids. Every single scientist died, except Seo. She dragged her broken body out and hid deep underground. That's where she built this underground base, living in total isolation for years until Kim Dane finally tracked her down. Back then, she kept her guard way up. Kim Dane asked her, "Don't you want payback on Hanan?" "I just happen to need your help." I didn't come here to hurt you. I came here to save your life. In the original timeline, her obsession with revenge turned her into an S-rank villain who met a tragic end. Kim Dane is absolutely determined to stop that from happening. Sure, she's technically his partner in crime now, which, let's be real, already makes her a villain. He still has to steer her onto the right path. But man, this girl has zero manners snapping at him. What are you looking at? You wouldn't get it anyway. As for Lee Subabin, she lost both her researcher parents, but self-taught herself enough to major in computer science at a top-tier university. She'll definitely be a massive help to Chaeyoon later. Still, she's a complete wild card from the original story, which makes Kim Dane a little suspicious. But hey, her cooking is absolutely legendary. Suddenly, Chaeyoon pulls out a stick-on tracking device. Kim Dane asks why she even built a tracker, and Chaeyoon just fires back, "Bro, did you forget our actual job?" This tracker is meant for our next target, a B-rank villain named Kim Hak-chol, who has insanely annoying teleportation powers. He can only warp short distances, but his teleportation has zero cooldown or side effects. So he can basically spam it forever. And since you can't trap him with telekinesis, he is incredibly annoying. The tougher the target, the faster we need to take him down. Kim Dane groans, complaining about how exhausting dealing with a teleporter actually is. Chaeyoon totally ignores his whining, telling him to shut up and get to work. Before long, Kim Dane makes it to the rooftop of the target building. Chaeyoon urges him to move fast, but Kim Dane worries the guy might be chilling in the living room. Chaeyoon impatiently snaps, reminding him she already explained this basic plan. Even if the guy warps away to dodge actual bullets, the tracker will still stick because it fires way faster than a bullet. You're a liberal arts major, so you wouldn't get it anyway. Quit stalling and get in there. Kim Dane suggests it might be easier to just take him out in public. But Chaeyoon snaps that he always teleports, so stick around because things are about to get messy. Trust me, she prepped hard for this plan, so he'd stop whining while Lee Subin cheerfully roots for Egostic on the side. Watching this sign awkwardly mumbles a quick good luck before Kim Dane teleports right into the base of A-rank villain Kim Hak-cho. Catching the guy completely off guard while drying his hair, Kim Dane instantly blasts 2 shots. The villain instantly teleports away, but Kim Dane checks if the tracker's stuck while Sobin monitors the map and calls out his location. He is 500 meters east, so Kim Dane teleports after him, landing on a crowded public street. Pedestrians start whispering, recognizing him as Egostic, and Kim Dane instantly realizes he is in deep trouble. This was definitely not part of the script, and onlookers are already live streaming his sudden downtown appearance. Meanwhile, over at a local college, Shin Haru gets the urgent alert that Egostic is causing a scene downtown. Told to report to the Hero Association for deployment, she slams her desk and leaps out of her seat. Realizing she is still in the middle of a lecture, she quickly apologizes before bolting straight out the door. She has to stop whatever crazy plot Egostic is cooking up, while Chaeyoon warns Kim Dane to watch the intersection crosswalk ahead. Seeing that his target was definitely hit, Kim Dane teleports over without a second thought, ready to finish the job. Watch closely, a massive truck suddenly barrels toward him, a trap set by Kim Hak-cho. He hoped to completely flatten his attacker, but Kim Dane uses his own teleportation to easily dodge the crash. Shocked that his perfect counterattack failed, Kim Hak-cho instantly teleports away to save his own skin. Landing on a high rooftop, the truth finally hits him. His assailant is none other than Egostic. This meant the previous villain kills were not personal grudges, but none of that matters as he prepares to fight for survival. A voice echoes calling him an A-rank teleporting villain who deserves death, making the crowd wonder if Egostic only targets bad guys. Kim Hak-cho teleports to escape once more, sparking a high-speed chase as both of them warp across the city repeatedly. He even grabs an innocent bystander, throwing them back as a shield. Kim Dane catches them smoothly, and with Kim Hak-cho already bleeding out from the gunshot wounds, the villain finally collapses. Looking down at him, Kim Dane says, "Teleporting villain, You know exactly what crimes you are guilty of, right? You stole tens of billions of dollars and caused the tragic deaths of 4 innocent citizens. Turning to the gathering crowd, Kim Dane asks if they want him to live, and they instantly chant to kill him. Kim Hak-cho furiously curses the crowd, screaming that they are no different from him for wanting his death. But Kim Dane knows this guy eventually becomes an S-rank villain, responsible for hundreds of future casualties. Let's pause here. He also hurt Stardust, so Kim Dane fires the final shots, ending him right there. But something feels seriously off as the crowd starts cheering instead of running in terror from the bloody scene. Apart from the wild superpowers, this alternate world felt extremely similar to his peaceful original home. Yet moments like this remind him of the harsh reality that this society is deeply broken, and he just cannot get used to how these bloodthirsty people think. He aims his weapon at the cheering crowd, reminding them he is a dangerous criminal before a familiar voice suddenly interrupts him. Egoistic. Stardust has finally arrived on the scene, and Kim Dane knows staying any longer will draw too much attention. In her normal life, Stardust is just a quiet, slightly distant college student. But when she suits up as a hero, she uses this hilarious old-school formal tone that is just too adorable. Egoistic, what have you done here? She demands, and Kim Dane replies, you ask what I did? I just took out an A-rank bank robber and did the dirty work your heroes failed to do, leaving her completely speechless. Even if heroes have execution authority over an A-rank villain, she points out that Egoistic is absolutely not a hero. Kim Dane spots the perfect opportunity to boost her public image, especially with dozens of citizens recording the whole confrontation. So he declares, as expected of Stardust, a criminal like me playing vigilante is completely against the law. I admire your pure sense of justice, so I will take my leave for now, leaving the bystanders whispering in confusion. They wonder if only official heroes can stop criminals, especially since Stardust only showed up after the threat was neutralized. With her skill set, she never would have caught a teleporter anyway. So did Egoistic really do anything wrong here? Kim Dane can feel the entire storyline sliding further and further off the rails. Meanwhile, Shoen screams into his earpiece, telling him to stop chatting and warp back immediately. Running out of time, he awkwardly tells Stardust he'll keep playing the bad guy, and that's where we leave things today. All right, you and I are about to watch the ultimate villain drop a warning and vanish, leaving the crowd completely stunned as they slowly pack up. Only Stardust is left standing there, looking incredibly conflicted about everything. Kim Dane teleports back home, and Soeon immediately screams for Lee Sububin to help, warning her this is a major teleportation side effect. It takes both girls working together just to drag Kim Dane inside, while online, some random forum starts a popularity poll. Next to the super stiff and old-school Stardust, everyone is voting for the real star, Mango Stick. Honestly, the votes supporting Egoistic are absolutely obliterating poor Stardust. Stardust looks completely crushed reading those comments, her mind racing. Back when Shinharu was only 17, some monster murdered her parents. The killer ran out of time and had to flee early, which is the only reason she barely made it out alive. That horrific night was when she awakened her Stardust powers. Meanwhile, back at Soeon's base, Kim Dane finally opens his eyes. Soeon tells him to grab some food while the news plays, which is, surprise, surprise, all about the A-rank villain, Egoistic. He basically took down the A-rank threat Rhino, and even that crazy S-rank villain in Zodia. He single-handedly made life way more exciting for Korean citizens, and that observation tower disaster ended with 0 casualties. He even shut down a terror attack started by his own followers and paid off the hostages out of pocket. Plus, he captured the A-rank villain Teleporter Guy, the Hero Association officially rated as one of the absolute hardest targets to catch. Now people are claiming Egoistic is not even a real villain, with one post getting 7,842 upvotes and barely 12 downvotes. Now watch this. Fans are literally literally arguing online that Egostic is way stronger, while Stardust is just completely useless. Seriously, Egostic already bagged 3 major villains, while Stardust, a top-tier A-rank hero, basically has 0 achievements to her name. Other heroes like Shadow Walker and Frostblade saved dozens, maybe even hundreds of people. Stardust looks terrible by comparison, and now Ejik has his own massive fan forum. Kim Dane is completely baffled by these absolute lunatics. Like, who creates a fan club for a literal supervillain? He cannot let this trend slide. He needs to plan his next big crime immediately. He has to show the world who the real bad guy is. But more importantly, he needs to boost Stardust's sinking popularity. Right now, Shinharu is just trying to enjoy some mango shaved ice, but all that online hate keeps echoing in her head. Does Stardust only show up when the fight is already done? With her lame powers, she could never catch a teleporter anyway. Instead of useless heroes who just slap villains on the wrist, citizens prefer Egostic because he straight up executes them. She cannot understand why everyone hates her when she works so hard. You and I both know she's trying as she slaps her cheeks to focus before her senior Kim Chae-im asks what's wrong. She tells Shinharu the weather is too nice to be depressed, so she needs to take a little break. Then she whips out her phone to show Haru something crazy that has been blowing up all over the internet. It's Egostic's official fan forum, the Mango Crew, and apparently absolutely everyone is obsessed with him right now. Shinharu cannot believe even Chae-im is a fan of this dude, but the real emergency, Egostic is live streaming right this second. She gets an urgent alert because Egostic is literally calling out Stardust by name on his stream. The association orders her to gear up and head out, so Haru quickly says goodbye and rushes to the scene. She's determined to bag him this time. While over on a remote railway, Kim Dane starts his live broadcast. Unsurprisingly, the chat is losing their minds, especially after he received so many messages from fans declaring their love. Some are even calling him a secret hero instead of a villain, especially with his Mango Crew fan club blowing up. But he's like, guys, are we forgetting something? I'm literally a villain. And look, the train is rolling in. Start as you watching this. Instantly, the chat spams question marks until one wild comment pops up. Even during a terror attack, he is calling her out. That's true love, guys. Now let's play a simple game. Does she choose to save 1 person or 5? Or will she sacrifice the few for the greater good? Pull the lever and the people on the track are doomed. Try to save everyone, and I blow up this entire train right now. You get exactly 1 choice. Right then, Stardust finally crashes onto the scene. For a second, she is completely paralyzed. If she tries to save everyone, the passengers on the train will pay the price. She needs a miracle to save everyone. But the massive train is already barreling down the tracks. Now, you and I both know she won't sacrifice anyone, even if the crowd thinks saving 4 is better than 1. Let's jump into the action as she charges a train that Lee Subabin is totally failing to control. Kim Dane put on a massive act, screaming that Stardust was totally gonna get crushed if this kept up. Why is she trying to get killed? Honestly, the comments were already calling him a total tsundere. Stardust tried to slow down the train, but it kept accelerating because Lee Subabin was still passed out cold behind the controls. Everything was going to plan, except his Shadow Walker powers only worked when the sun went down. Kim Dane could have easily pulled this whole gig off way more comfortably after dark, but trying to sneakily set up a crime in broad daylight was a total headache with too many eyes. Even so, looking at how it all came together, Kim Dane felt pretty proud of himself. See, in the original story, Stardust would get super depressed after fighting villains, even though it made her stronger. But now, Kim Dane had already taken those bad guys off the board for her. But watch closely. Without this near-death experience, she'd never actually level up. So this runaway train was basically a training camp Kim Dane cooked up. On the outside, though, he had to play completely dumb, so nobody realized he planned the whole thing. When in reality, everything went exactly as he wanted. Sure, Stardust had super strength in flight, but she was still missing that final 2%. That tiny gap kept her from becoming a full-fledged A-rank hero. Honestly, stopping this train should have been completely impossible for her. But here is the secret. Her real power went way beyond just flying and hitting things hard. Every time she backed into a corner, her abilities would absolutely explode to a whole new level. Kim Dane knew she could stop the speeding train, but then, out of nowhere, Lu Bin blacked out. No matter how much Kim Dane yelled, she was totally unresponsive. This was definitely not part of the script. If even one single hostage got crushed on those tracks, the plan would fail, and Stardust would fall into pure despair. Right when Kim Dane started to panic, Stardust's inner spark suddenly went absolutely wild. With the train inches from the hostage, she halted the massive machine with pure muscle, completely shattering her tragic fate. Seeing her actually hold it back, Kim Dane accidentally blurted out, "Awesome job!" But he quickly caught himself and acted shocked that she actually managed to stop it. It did not go exactly to plan, but she still crushed the impossible dilemma on her own terms. Sure, some viewers wondered why Agostic was cheering her on, but overall, everyone was totally hyped for Stardust. You see where this is going, right? Her reputation is saved, just like Kim Dane wanted. Looking right at the stream, he declared, "Did you see that? That is the hero Stardust. As long as she fights to save others, her power will never stop growing." Exhausted after pushing her limits, Stardust finally passed out cold. Kim Dane quickly teleported over to check on her. Peeking one eye open, she saw Agostic standing right over her. He whispered, "Great work, you win this round. I am heading out, so get some sleep." Kim Dane gently closed her eyes before telling the stream that the show was over and thanking them for watching. The stream cut to black, leaving the entire chat buzzing about the incredibly tense romantic vibe between the two. The next morning, Sueun started screaming for him to wake up, asking why he looked so exhausted after just one crime. Even though she was complaining, she still whipped up 3 bowls of instant noodles for them. Lee Subuin could not believe Sueun actually cooked. Kim Dane smiled, patting Suein on the head to thank her. Once they demolished the food, they sat down to see how the media was covering their absolute masterpiece of a crime. Kim Dane was totally confident his supervillain reputation was officially set in stone. And with Stardust's popularity hitting the roof, this was the ultimate win-win situation. But the second Seun checked the front page, she absolutely lost it laughing. The headlines claimed Stardust and Agostic were actually dating, showing a photo of the A-rank hero right after she stopped the train yesterday. Just from this photo, this villain and hero looked like a total couple, which Shinharu happened to see on screen. She got so incredibly mad that she literally crushed the cup in her hand, utterly confused by the rumors. The TV kept going, reporting that Korea's top villain, Agostic, and the rising star hero, Stardust. Wait till you and I see this wild-proof photo that apparently shows them as a totally passionate couple. All right, you and I are starting this off with a bomb, literally. Stardust's name was on it, but that's not all. It literally called the bomb a gift for Stardust. And next, check out this shot. Look at Agostic's super gentle eyes. Seriously, if that isn't true love, I don't know what is. After Agostic gently touched her Stardust, closed her eyes, and fell asleep in peace. If that doesn't count as dating, then what actually does? Back at school, Shinharu is re-watching this clip. She's seriously wondering if the entire internet has lost its mind. How could anyone think she's in love with a crazy villain like him? No way. That is absolutely never happening. Yet this weird mix of anger and disgust keeps bubbling up inside her. But deep down, there's also some strange feeling she can't even explain. Right then, her close classmate, Kim Chi-hin, walks over. "Haru, today we're rescuing your soul from these brutal school assignments. Come on, let's go out and actually have some fun." Meanwhile, inside their secret base, Han So-eun is literally rolling around the floor, whining that she wants to go out too. Since they already pulled off 2 successful operations, Kim Da-in finally agrees to let her get some fresh air. She instantly leaps up off the ground, cheering. Now pay attention. In the original Webtoon, he's a certified supervillain, yet he still made the heroine look that way. Let's flash back 3 years ago. Back then, the association was debuting some tech that is absolutely vital for every single hero. They call it the perception filtering device, or just the filter for short. Once a hero steps inside, it forms a visual layer over their face. To normal people, it basically triggers instant face blindness. But if a hero shows their actual face to someone who already knows them, the filter immediately fails. Everyone in the room knew exactly how dangerous a leaked identity could be for a hero. It wouldn't just end their career, it could totally ruin their entire life. So this was rule number 1. And cut to the present, Crocodile Man has spawned and is wrecking the entire city. Shinharu has no time to run back to base for a filter, but she believes a true hero never runs from danger. So she's ready to expose her identity and take Crocodile Man down herself. But then, someone screams that Egostic has arrived. Shinharu hears the shouting too. She knows he's the absolute biggest villain of this entire era. Korea's public enemy number 1 was none other than him, Egostic. Kim Da-in knows that in the original plot, Stardust suffered immensely after getting doxxed. An ordinary life is everything to a hero, so to protect her, he immediately taunts Crocodile Man. "You're nothing but complete garbage." Crocodile Man instantly recognizes him. The legendary Egostic is standing right there, the villain who's been playing lovey-dovey with Stardust. The chat immediately points out that Stardust's obsessive fanboy just arrived. Suddenly, Crocodile Man scales the wall at high speed. Then he leaps onto the roof and charges straight at Kim Da-in. But our boy teleports, instantly appearing right above his head. He tells him that knowing his name doesn't mean knowing he can teleport, while casually tapping his head. The croc swings wild, but he can't even graze him. He roars at Egostic, demanding a real fair fight. Kim Da-in laughs it off and asks why a villain like Egostic would ever fight fair. Even so, he realizes he needs a solid excuse for why Egostic showed up here. I know what you're thinking. If he doesn't clear the air, everyone will claim he came just for Stardust. So he asks the lizard what his deal is. He asks why the lizard launched this attack, and the beast replies that targeting Stardust makes attacking Egostic totally natural. "You're clearly obsessed with Stardust too, which makes you my ultimate rival." Kim Da-in has absolutely no clue what kind of brain-dead logic this is. But the livestream chat is already losing its mind. Even this dumb croc knows Egostic is totally into Stardust. He doesn't know Egostic can teleport, but he knows he's a simp. It's basically a love triangle battle. Crocodile Man points at Egostic and roars that he was the one who threatened to kill him first. Kim Da-in instantly denies ever saying that, but the comments are right there to remind him that he definitely did. They quote him directly, "A lizard causing trouble on my turf is dead today." Weren't those his exact words? Kim Da-in completely panics. That is totally not what he meant. Since when did this overgrown lizard get so good at debating? And worst of all, the entire chat agrees with him. Seeing Egostic play dumb Crocodile Man unleashes a massive roar as a giant fireball starts charging in his throat. Kim Da-in spots his ultimate move. But you and I both know a slow fireball like that is never going to touch him. All right, folks, buckle up, because if this monster even grazes our boy Kim Dane, he is straight up history. Good thing he brought backup toys. We are talking dozens of guns, all floating and firing simultaneously with his telekinesis. But once the smoke clears, that crocodile man is completely fine, laughing like, "You think bullets can hurt me." But Kim Dane is just smirking, because that was literally the plan. He needed this big lizard to get cocky, so he casually tosses his mask aside. Then he whips out a handy gas mask he had ready and chucks a spherical bomb straight at Crocodile Man. And boom! The bomb lands right in his giant mouth and explodes with a massive blast. In the original story, that thick hide gave Stardust major trouble, so of course Kim Dane brought the heat. The chat goes wild, with everyone screaming that the association needs to make Mango Stick a hero as soon as possible. He is still claiming to be a villain after all that, but dude totally overdid it with his powers. Kim Dane is running on fumes. He wanted to telekinetically clean up his weapons, but his energy tank is bone dry. Just lifting his phone is a struggle. Now pay attention here, because he scrambles to tell the live stream he only fought the Croc because he hates him insisting he did not do it for Stardust, and definitely not for justice. The chat immediately roasts him, saying, "Yeah, right, totally makes sense." Right then, Stardust shows up in her hero suit, looks at the knocked out Croc and asks, "Did you beat him?" Kim Dane is like, "He was blocking my path, so I cleared him out," making Stardust instantly question him. Why, Kim Dane coldly replies, "Because he was shouting that you and I were acting all lovey-dovey." And that ticked me off. Right after saying that, Kim Dane mutes the live stream audio. Then he quietly tells her, "Stardust, do not ever show your real face in public like today, because once your identity leaks, your life becomes a total nightmare." Before she can even process those words, Kim Dane turns back to the viewers and says, "That is all for today's stream. We have a massive event dropping next month, so stay tuned." The chat immediately goes crazy, demanding to know what they whispered about while the mic was muted. But before Stardust can speak, Kim Dane teleports away. Back at the base, let's pause for a second, because the poor guy is coughing up blood and looking completely wrecked. The very next second, he passes out cold on the floor. Meanwhile, Stardust picks up the mask Kim Dane left behind, whispering, "How does he know exactly what I am thinking?" Back at home, Shinharu checks the internet. The big headline says the rank A villain Crocodile Man who wrecked the ice cream festival is locked up, transferred to the Eastern Superhuman Detention Center after getting beat by Agostic. Agostic, who is literally a rank A villain himself, got there first. Is he even a bad guy anymore? The dude literally has a cult following now. Shinharu gets a massive headache just reading this, slowly realizing that literally everyone in town loves Agostic now, even the local ice cream vendor. But she keeps remembering what Agostic told her about never showing her real face to the public like that. She cannot help but wonder, were the others right? Was she the only one getting this wrong? Meanwhile, with Kim Dane still knocked out, Xiaowen is putting all the blame on Stardust. And right in the middle of her ranting, Kim Dane finally wakes up, asking why everyone looks so depressed. She immediately hugs Kim Dane and bursts into tears, which is when he realizes he was out for 3 whole days. The reason is simple. He spammed his teleportation and telekinesis way too many times in a row. With teary eyes, Xiaowen tells him he has to take better care of himself, and Kim Dane honestly never expected her to actually cry for him. Looks like all those games I played with her actually paid off. Lee Sibuin also asks why he was in such a massive rush to deal with the Crocodile Man, saying anyone who did not know him would think he is a total hero. Seiyun chimes in too, asking why he keeps pulling these heroic stunts if he is supposed to be a villain. Kim Dane explains that if he had not jumped in, Stardust would have fought herself, which would have been a massive disaster. Once a hero shows their face, people start digging up their personal info. Then every crazy villain and criminal who wants heroes dead would target her. So Eun asks him, what does that have to do with us? Kim Dane explains that their world was built on an uneven playing field from the very start, because good and evil are never balanced. Most superhumans do not want to be heroes, choosing to be villains instead. After all, heroes make peanuts, get targeted, and as we both know, get bullied by villains all the time. Let's jump right into this crazy world where being a villain is just way easier than being a hero. You only got Stardust, Shadow Walker, and Frostblade for A-rank heroes, but the bad guys? Too many to count. Hearing that, Seun immediately starts teasing him. So bro, you gonna go full vigilante and do the hero's job? Like a dark hero. But then she asks the real question. What does that have to do with us? Kim Dane quickly laughs it off, saying he is just worried about Korea's future. But Seon narrows her eyes. Bro, do you have a crush on Stardust? Do not tell me you are doing all this for a girl. Kim Dane shuts her down fast. Hey, watch your mouth. Keep it civilized. And just like that, things get super awkward. Lee Subin quickly jumps in to break the ice. Hey Seun, did not you have some big news to share? Oh right, Seun remembers. Summer is almost here. Let's go on a trip. Kim Dane is down for vacation. But first, they need another villain gig. Time to tank his own reputation and level up Stardust's power. I mean, who knows when the next crazy villain like Crocodile Man will show up. If Stardust fought that crocodile dude head on, she would have been wrecked, Seun grumbles. So are we packing bags or what? In the end, they make a literal pinky promise. Finally, Sign runs off to pack. Meanwhile, Kim Dane is already cooking up dozens of evil schemes. The tower and train gigs were both on land, so for this round, they are going air or sea. Now watch closely, because Kim Dane gets the wildest idea ever after seeing news about a falling plane. Seun and Kim Dane both let out a creepy, villainous laugh at the exact same time. Cut to a random flight midair. Passengers are chilling, laughing, and having a great time in the cabin. But boom, the cabin lights go completely black. At first, nobody really panics. Some folks even think the dark sky looks pretty cool. But then a voice cracks over the intercom. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the wildest quiz show at 25,000 feet. Welcome to the Self Show live stream. A passenger grabs a flight attendant, like, what is going on here? But the voice keeps talking. There is a literal bomb on this plane. The second those words drop, absolute panic breaks out. Now let the game begin. Over at Hero headquarters, Stardust just got the crazy news. The president warns her that rushing over there won't guarantee she can actually save the day. Stardust slams the table. Is that seriously what a leader should be saying right now? I am leaving. The boss sighs. I never said you could not. Then a lazy voice chimes in. Daytime is just so exhausting. It is the A-rank hero Kim Jan, better known as Shadow Walker. He tells the boss he needs a nap the second they hit the airport, since he cannot fight like this anyway. You and I both know heroes cannot save everyone, but hearing the boss say it still hits hard. With a flash of light, they teleport straight to the airport. But what they see next is absolutely terrifying. How do we stop that? An entire airplane completely on fire is falling straight from the sky. For Kim Dane, being the main villain to a superhero means everything. His main job is helping her level up. Flashback to years ago during a hero debut when villains gathered together. And standing right there was an S-rank villain, Thousand Melees. But walking in alone was Shadow Walker. His power lets him turn into a mysterious liquid at night. We are talking lightning-fast speed and attacks with serious bone-shattering power. Invincible at night, but a total weakling by day. Back on Egostic's side, he knows Stardust has arrived, so he announces that it is time for the final round everyone has been waiting for. Rewind 30 minutes earlier when this sky-high quiz show kicked off. First, he drops the rules. Everyone grab your phones, turn off airplane mode, and check your texts. There are 10 questions in total. Get them all right and the bomb is disarmed. But if even one person fails, you are all history. Text your answers to this number. And absolutely zero cheating, guys. No looking at other screens. Make a single sound and you are out. Question 1. How many people fit on a Titanic lifeboat? That cheating passenger instantly paid the price. Trust me, things are about to get wild. All right, you and I are diving into this crazy story where another player just got wiped out. Chat is literally losing their minds. Seriously, who actually called Egostic a hero? Well, the answer to that first crazy question finally dropped. Exactly 9 people made it. Why? Because the word 9 sounds just like a literal lifeboat. Seoin could totally tell Kim Dean was loving this twisted game. And as the clock kept ticking, more players failed miserably. Now we're down to the very last question, with only one survivor left, and Stardust is finally speeding to the scene. Egostic hypes it up, saying, "Before this final epic round begins, let's do a quick interview. Your next words decide if everyone lives or dies. Mr. Kim Dukbae from Bombay Dong, you are our last hope. How are you feeling?" Kim Dukbae locks in with a super serious face, saying, "I honestly feel a heavy sense of responsibility." But surprise, Egostic already ruled that absolute silence was required. So you all failed. This plane is officially going down. The stage is set, and it's prime time for our hero to shine. But Stardust completely freezes when she sees this madness. She frantically hits up the president for a game plan, but he just hits her with, "What else can you do? Give up. I'm way too busy drafting a solid, angry letter. Plus, the big boss is calling, so I'm hanging up now." Now, pay attention here, because stopping a speeding train was one thing, but how on earth is she going to stop a falling plane? Her mind flashes back to the tragic night her parents died, the exact moment she swore to get revenge. Right now, it feels just like that hopeless night, like she can't save anyone. But suddenly, a voice crackles through her earpiece. Meanwhile, back at base, Kim Dean is casually chilling, thinking this whole villain gig is way too easy, when you can run it completely remote. But Seoin immediately spots trouble. Why on earth is Stardust just frozen there, not making a single move? Kim Dean's face completely drops. What the heck is Stardust doing? Cyan, can you patch me straight into her earpiece? Hurry up, we are totally running out of time here. And just like that, a familiar voice suddenly echoes in her ear. "What's up? It's Egostic." Stardust instantly fires back, "You absolute trash." But Kim Dean keeps it totally cool. "I'm just curious, why aren't you saving them? That plane is literally plummeting, so why are you just sitting there?" Stardust snaps, "You are the literal reason this plane is crashing. Why are you telling me to go fix it?" Kim Dean shrugs. Well, who else is going to do it? If that giant chunk of metal hits, everyone inside gets completely pulverized. Stardust grits her teeth and asks, "Is this your master plan? Are you literally trying to force me to die?" But Kim Dean tells her flat out, "You can do this. Stand up, clench your fists, launch yourself into the sky, and save them all. Because if anyone can, it is you, Stardust." Honestly, you and I are probably just as confused as Stardust is by this lunatic. Kim Dean goes on, "Why would I ever want you dead? Without you, I would just be some average, everyday bad guy. You are the one who truly made me who I am." Hearing that, Stardust completely freezes in shock. She is still super suspicious that Egostic is planning some crazy scheme with this stunt. But for now, she decides to play along, launching herself like a rocket straight toward the falling plane. Because if she just lets these innocent people die, the guilt will destroy her forever. And Kim Dean knows she can do it because that is exactly who Stardust is. The last contestant, Kim Doby, is totally sobbing, thinking he just killed everyone. If only he had locked in a little harder at the end. But suddenly, passengers realize the descent is slowing. Stardust is literally holding the entire massive plane up with her bare hands. With the flight crew's help, every single passenger safely evacuates. That's when the realization hits them all. The legendary Stardust just saved their lives. A real hero protected every one of them. Under her breath, Stardust whispers just one name: Egostic. This insane plane crash sends shockwaves around the globe. Who is this absolute powerhouse of a hero, Stardust? Governments worldwide have to face the music. Korea's hero lineup is just on a completely different level. Honestly, some countries could combine all their heroes and still get absolutely wrecked by Korea. The morning news is buzzing too, reporting how the legendary rank A villain Egostic hijacked that plane and forced it to fall. But by some crazy miracle, every single soul on board walked away unharmed. The savior who stopped that plummeting giant, Korea's pride and joy, Stardust. A ton of experts originally claimed her powers. Could never stop a falling plane, especially with it dropping so fast. Honestly, you and I are just glad Shinharu's watching a happy ending. Right then, her phone rings. With a cheerful voice on the line, "Come on over. The association president actually gave you a day off. So come down to the beach and relax a little." All right, you and I are about to see how a simple trip goes wild, starting with Shinharu happily planning a getaway with the crew tomorrow. But she couldn't stop thinking about Egostic's words. He told her she could do it because of who she is. And honestly, nobody had ever believed in her like that. But he is literally a villain. So why on earth did he tell her to save that plane? If he knew she could rescue everyone on board, why did he even crash the plane in the first place? He told her that without her, he is just some basic run-of-the-mill bad guy. She made him. Egostic was a total mystery, but Shinharu had a strong gut feeling that he had some secret motive behind his crazy actions. So she decided to track down his recent movements. Right then, the Hero Association called with some big news. They needed to measure her power levels all over again. Meanwhile, Shuin was so incredibly hyped she could barely sit still. Her dream vacation was finally here. Plus, this was Kim Dane's first actual break since dropping into this crazy new world. Taking a breather once in a while is great, right? Too bad they got stuck in a massive traffic jam immediately. Even worse, the air conditioner died on the hottest day of their trip, leaving everyone roasting inside that metal oven. So couldn't help but whine, asking why he couldn't just teleport the entire car. Kim Dane snapped back, saying the side effects would literally kill him, so they should hit a rest stop first. Saw grumbled that they should have taken the train, but Kim Dane shut that down because of their mountain of luggage. Watch closely, Sean just noticed something incredibly sketchy sitting right next to her. Yep, Kim Dane brought actual guns. He casually explained that you never know what could happen out there. So En totally flipped out, screaming about what kind of vacation this was, before causing a massive scene in the car. Thankfully, they finally made it to the beach, and Lee Subin sweet-talked them with some ice-cold drinks. Blushing hard, she admitted she was super grateful to him. Kim Dane was totally clueless, though. Grateful for what? She smiled and thanked him for saving her life and for everything else. She thanked him for being so nice, but Kim Dane insisted he was the one who owed her. He praised her awesome cooking and help around the house, which made Lee Subin blush and whisper sweet nothings. She was overjoyed to hear that. But I know what you're thinking. This sweet vibe felt like a textbook death flag to Kim Dane. Was a betrayal coming? He literally started stressing that she had spiked his drink with poison. Back at the Korean Hero Association, 2 employees were debating the shocking test results. They insisted the data was right, meaning she shouldn't have been able to stop that falling plane. The other argued the test must have glitched because they missed her true hidden strength from day one. But Stardust knew deep down that the power test results were perfectly accurate. Ever since surviving that insane disaster, her power level had skyrocketed, leaving the staff completely dumbfounded. Back on the sand, Lee Subin handed Kim Dane another drink, blushing while repeating how grateful she was. Convinced she was plotting his doom, he forced a smile and said he would keep relying on her, too. So grumbled from the sidelines, asking if they were just going to ignore her and flirt all day. How cute! Lee Subin panicked immediately, waving her hands and denying any flirting. It's a group trip, so everyone has to join in. Hearing that Kim Dane snatched Suin up, he chucked her straight into the ocean, leaving her coughing up salt water. Finally, some real peaceful vibes. The trio happily splashed around the waves. Meanwhile, in a dark room, a mysterious voice asked for tonight's target. The answer was simple: the Marriott Royal Hotel. They were planning something massive. And guess where Kim Dane and his crew were staying? Yep, the exact same hotel. To make things even wilder, they booked just one single room under Soo-yoon's name because she wanted to save some extra cash. She argued that since it was a massive king-size bed, sleeping together would be totally fine. Subin agreed, mentioning it had been forever since the three of them slept in one bed. Kim Dane immediately yelled at her to rephrase that. They had never done that. That night, Kim Dane kept praying that absolutely nothing crazy would go down. He wished for a peaceful night. But then, bam! The hotel door was violently kicked open. He knocked them out with telekinesis, frowning, because trust me, you and I know trouble has arrived. All right, you and I are about to watch a guy who just wanted a peaceful vacation get his door crashed by masked goons, hurting innocent hotel guests. Kim Dane was completely speechless. Did they seriously just walk into a villain raid? Talk about terrible luck. Every single vacation gets ruined. But seriously, how did these clowns dare to pull this off right under a top hero's nose? He whips out his phone only to see the local A-rank hero, Shadow Walker, was found knocked out in Incheon. Right then, Soon wakes up and asks what the heck happened. Kim Dane tells her the hotel is being raided. Honestly, at this point, Soon is completely used to this kind of drama. Kim Dane tells her to wake up Subin and stay put while he heads down to the parking lot. He never expected to deal with this garbage on his days off, so he teleports outside. If he doesn't handle these guys, they can't even leave. He never thought he'd actually have to pull out his emergency backup mask. Dane just lets out a cold laugh. He wants to see which clown dared to ruin his break, so he teleports around to deliver earpieces to Soon and Subin. Time to get to work. Soon is super confused, wondering why her bro looks so incredibly hyped right now. Meanwhile, the villains have corralled most of the guests. Leading this bunch is the A-rank baddie, Monkey Wrench. He tells his crew to call up the Hero Association immediately, bragging that they have hundreds of hostages. If they don't get the money wired right now, he threatens to wipe out everyone. Pay attention here. Dane suddenly drops in, mocks their cheap stunt, and activates his telekinesis. In a flash, he snatches the weapons from the goons and knocks them all flat. The crowd goes wild with panic, but that single move actually burned months of stored-up psychic power. He immediately throws another attack at Monkey Wrench, who barely dodges. Dane just laughs and talks trash. Mocking him for bringing literal trash mobs to a heist, Dane pushes Monkey Wrench to pull his gun and fire. The bullet hits Dane right in the gut. Bleeding, he smirks and asks, "Is that single shot all you got?" But for real, things are incredibly bad. One wrong move and he is going to bleed out right on the floor. His survival instincts are screaming at him to run away. Monkey Wrench just wanted to exploit Shadow Walker's absence, bag some quick cash, and make a run for it. But now he suspects this guy might actually be Egostic. Is he on Egostic's hit list? Is that why he was lying in wait? Sensing his fear, Dane tells him, "Monkey Wrench, you look terrified. I will let you run away." The villain barks back, asking what kind of trap this is. Dane just scoffs, trap. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Dane is totally bluffing, but his vacation is actually completely ruined. So get lost before I lose my patience and delete you. But inside, he is literally begging this guy to just buy the bluff and run. Dane is so lightheaded he can barely stand, but Monkey Wrench thinks this is his golden opportunity. If he survives today, he can make a comeback later and finally become the king of Korea. He refuses to die here. In an instant, he turns into a beam of light and zooms out. But out of nowhere, a massive fist slams into him, sending him flying backward with one hit. The hero Stardust has arrived. She coldly tells the gang that they are surrounded and must surrender immediately. But looking around, she notices that every single bad guy is already knocked flat on the floor. Right behind her, the A-rank hero Frostblade pulls up and can't help but crack a comment. Imagine spreading fake news about Shadow Walker passing out just to stage a heist. How goofy is that? Then Shadow Walker himself shows up. But immediately all eyes turn to Dane, who is barely holding on. Dane is totally confused about why all these heroes are suddenly crowding around him. Stardust asks warily, "Who are you? Did you seriously handle this entire raid alone?" Dane knows if he slips up for a second, he's done for. Luckily, they still don't realize he's actually Egostic in disguise. He just needs to buy time until he can teleport out. Acting cool, he says, "Who am I, you ask? I am an S-rank hero, secretly working in Korea under a hidden identity." Hearing that, the three A-rank heroes are definitely not buying it. Frostblade lets out a deep frown. The association has zero records of any S-rank hero. "Quit talking nonsense. Who the heck are you?" Dane snaps back. "Stardust, ever heard of a secret op?" Let us watch what happens next. Let's dive into the action as he looks at Frostblade and Shadow Walker claiming to be an old-school hero. Over the comms, Lee Subabin and Soon have absolutely no clue what Kim Dane is doing, but he just keeps on acting. He calls them out for not greeting their elders. So rude. But Stardust is not buying this guy's act for a second. Staring right back, Kim Dane keeps going. He says she obviously has no idea what he is talking about. Fine, he will tell her. Listen up, his name is Shiro. But then he spots a kid wearing a crazy pineapple and mango shirt. So he panics and blurts out that his name is Apple Mango. The people in the crowd instantly start whispering about how trash that name is. Right then, Frostblade double-checks with headquarters. And, surprise, they have never heard of any Apple Mango. He demands answers. There is no hero by that name. So, who are you, Kim Dane? Stays in character, calling them rude little brats. I know your boss's real name was Park Mansion, and he only changed it to Park Junho because he thought Mansion sounded way too tacky. Go check for yourselves if you do not believe me. The crowd is absolutely stunned. And check this out. Even Kim Dane is shocked his knowledge from the game is actually working right now. But Frostblade fires back, saying the president does not know him. Suddenly, a guy in the crowd speaks up to defend our boy. Hey heroes, that masked dude literally saved us from the bad guys. Does his name even matter that much? Kim Dane is so touched he could literally cry. If he can just catch his breath for 1 second, he can teleport away. But then, the same guy mentions that he saw the hero floating weapons in midair to take the thugs out. He thinks it is that villain from television, Ego something. The second Stardust hears that name, she snaps her head toward Kim Dane. Kim Dane is internally begging this guy to shut up, while Stardust narrows her eyes at him. She knew he was sketchy from the jump. Now she is going to lock him up first and ask questions later. Kim Dane is literally praying for time. Just a few more seconds is all he needs. Right then, Frostblade launches his ice magic first, while Shadow Walker teleports directly behind him in the blink of an eye. Stardust charges him head-on, but Kim Dane is still completely frozen and unable to move his body. Hurt and trapped, he faces a 3-versus-1 superhero beatdown. At the absolute last second, his stamina barely recovers, and he instantly teleports away. And just like that, we watch him pull Soon and Lee Subabin back into the getaway car. Kim Dane gasps, telling Sound to wipe all traces of their presence right now. Clear the hotel logs and security cameras because if they get caught, they are done. With that, Kim Dane completely passes out. Teleporting to a hospital is too risky and will get them caught. They have no choice but to head straight back to base. While Lee Subabin floors it, she tells Soon to grab the first aid kit and patch Kim Dane up fast. Sound is totally losing her mind since she has never handled an emergency like this before. Lee Subabin just yells at her to hurry up. They need to get out of there right now. Meanwhile, Frostblade is whining back at the hotel about his ruined day off. Why can't these trash villains let him rest for once? Shadow Walker heads out to sleep, while a guilty Kim Chae-hyun blames herself for the mess. She thinks it is her fault for dragging everyone out, but Shadow Walker points out that Stardust would have chased this anyway. Meanwhile, Lee Subabin is driving like an absolute maniac, pushing the speedometer past 220. She is terrifying other drivers on the road, while Stardust makes up her mind to fully investigate this egostic guy. In his past life, 19-year-old Kim Dane was just reading the Stardust comic. The author brutally tortured Stardust the entire time, and then the story just abruptly ended. It was basically the ultimate useless main character story. Exhausted by the trash writing, Kim Dane fell asleep. Suddenly, a massive light flashed in the sky. Cut back to reality, where Kim Dane is resting in a recovery pod at headquarters. Suwoon stands by his side looking completely worn out. Lee Subabin brings some food, but Suwoon cannot even think of eating. Seeing him hooked up to all those machines, she just starts crying all over again. But right as Soon is about to force some food down, Kim Dane's weak voice whispers, "My dear Soon, you can actually eat right now when your brother is literally dying." She instantly bursts into a flood of tears. After that, it is right back to her throwing cute little angry punches and whining at him. And that's where we leave it, with the whole internet debating if a casualty-free crime is even a crime. Shinharu knew deep down that without Agostic calling and pushing her to step up, she wouldn't have stopped that disaster. Trust me, it's wild how he somehow knew her power had leveled up beforehand. But how did he know? Maybe it was just luck, but her new strength was real. And get this, there was another major red flag. Almost every villain Agostic took out was a powerhouse who could have caused some serious city-wrecking disasters later on. No matter how she sliced it, Agostic was definitely no hero. But he wasn't some basic bad guy either. The dude was playing 3D chess, so when he pulled his next stunt, she was absolutely going to unmask him. But if that's true, what was the actual endgame behind all of Agostic's crazy terror attacks? Plus, he somehow knew the Hero Association president Park Joon-ho's top-secret real name was Park Min-chune. Was Agostic actually a former S-rank hero who went rogue after clashing with the association? While our trio grabbed some food, Seoin read those exact viral rumors out loud. The wild theory about Agostic fighting the association was spreading like wildfire, making Kim Diane feel super awkward just listening to it. Even Lee Subabin stepped in and told Se to lay off the poor guy. Now check this out. She asks him if he's really going to keep yelling about being a villain and pulling off crazy crimes. Especially with his body wrecked like this, does he actually think he can? Kim Dane admitted he needed to chill and recover for at least 3 months, which finally let the girls breathe a sigh of relief. He told them he was going off the grid because once he vanishes, the public hype will naturally die down. But during this vacation, they needed a new recruit, the one and only healer from the original Stardust game. If left to her own devices, she would turn into a totally game-breaking villain. Since he didn't want to kill her, his only play was to recruit her to their side. 3 months fly by, and suddenly a new bad guy pops up, prompting Stardust to gear up and roll out. Her very first question was, is it Egostic? But nope, this new guy goes by the name Low Point. While nobody knew where Agostic had been hiding all this time, Kim Dane was actually munching popcorn and cheering on Stardust like a total fanboy. And obviously this Low Point guy got absolutely wrecked by her. After her massive power-up, Stardust was on a whole new level. Seoin just glared at him, asking if he was enjoying this. I know what you're thinking. He is a total fanboy, and Seoin is sick of him stalking Stardust's fan forums every single day. Kim Dane immediately plays dumb, but Seoin drops the hammer, reminding him that she's the hacker who knows he's the leader. Did he really think he could hide it from her? He quickly tries to play it off as just a casual hobby. Either way, it was time to kick off their next big mission, which meant recruiting that game-changing healer. Meanwhile, across town, two random pedestrians are enjoying the day when a young girl walks past and casually bumps right into them. She acts polite and apologizes, but she's actually a master pickpocket who already swiped his wallet. But bad news, a sketchy gang has been watching her every move. Right then, her 13-year-old little brother, Chayun, runs up. Seeing he is hurt, she instantly uses her secret healing magic to patch him up, before telling him to head home first. She promises to bring back some delicious food. This sweet girl is Lehigh, the future top-tier villain, X. But when she gets back to her place, a bunch of thugs are already waiting. Their leader sneers, calling her a little thief. These scumbags are a local gang called the Swamp Dogs, and they are definitely not happy. They warn her that stealing on their turf without paying up carries a death sentence. Lehigh demands they release her brother, but they just laugh. They mock her, saying she still doesn't know her place, and decide to teach her a brutal lesson today. The thug raises his knife to strike, but in a split second, a massive shockwave blasts the blade right out of his hand. Suddenly, the other gangsters get slammed by invisible forces, and a dozen floating weapons point straight at their heads. Lehigh grabs her brother and pulls him away. Today was Friday the 17th. A very specific date. In the game's original timeline, today was the tragic day Chayun was supposed to be murdered by these gangsters. Losing him would have pushed Lehigh over the edge to become a villain. If Kim Dane had arrived even a second later, she would have been lost forever. Lehigh realizes someone else has entered the room and quickly shields her little brother behind her back. Kim Dane casually greets the kid and says he's here to pick them up, making Lehigh ask why a villain would help them. Since he's a notorious bad guy, he simply replies that he's there to save them, because obviously, he is a nice guy. Besides, it'll be bad if other heroes show up, but Lehigh grits her teeth and refuses to go with him, even if it kills her. Honestly, you and I can't blame her. Who knows what a villain might do? All right, you and I are jumping right into the chaos as little Chayun dashes over, hyping up Egostic and claiming he's part of the Mango crew too. Da-in was totally caught off guard by this twist, but a bit later he brings the siblings back to headquarters and announces, "Hey everyone, check out our brand new squad members. Say hello." Hyul nervously squeaks out. Hi, my name is Lee Hyul, and this is my little bro, Chayun. Sullen immediately notices that this new recruit is not just a super-powered healer, but actually a girl. Back at the base, Sullen can easily tell that Hyul is still totally on guard around them. She is acting exactly like So-eun did when they first met. Suddenly, So-eun spots Da-in chugging juice straight out of the jug again. She immediately yells, "Dude, I told you not to drink straight from the bottle." Da-in quickly defends himself. "Hey, this is my mango juice. Yours is in the fridge." Still, Hyul is super tense. So Da-in tells So-eun and Subin to step outside for a bit, needing some private time to talk to Hyul. On her way out, So-eun playfully sticks her tongue out at him, leaving just Da-in and the two siblings in the room. Now, watch closely. Da-in reveals he did his homework, asking if she ran away after killing that awful orphanage director. He knew that scumbag was abusing them, meaning this whole meeting was definitely not some random coincidence. He tracked them down for a real purpose. He wants them to be happy, but not stuck in this gloomy underground base. He already set up a portal so they can all move into a massive house soon. They will live together like a family, and the kids can even go to school. Ha-yul is totally baffled by his kindness. They just met today, but Da-in explains, "Honestly, it is because I have a little sister around your age. That is why." Meanwhile, Chaeyoung excitedly pipes up, bragging that he has watched all of the Mango crew's villain streams multiple times. Da-in grins, promising it will be a blast, and they are not actually bad guys. With that, he leads them right over to the teleportation portal. Ha-yul is still super suspicious, but since her little bro is already running ahead, she has no choice but to follow. Da-in eagerly asks, "So, how do you like it? This is the house we'll be living in from now on." Chaeyoung is already loving it. Da-in explains he's staying on the 3rd floor while the siblings get 2 cozy rooms on the 2nd floor all to themselves. He tells them not to sweat school tuition since they need to study and he just happens to be filthy rich. If they're still unsure, they can just chill for a few days and think about it. No pressure. They can leave whenever. Ha-yul thinks about those nasty gangsters from earlier and realizes she can't exactly go back to that life. Since her younger brother seems totally down with this place too, she finally has no choice but to agree. Da-in grins and says, "Awesome, let's get along from now on." He successfully recruited his pocket healer, but you and I know he definitely forgot something super important again. What could it be? Meanwhile, Shinharu is doom-scrolling the forums, wondering if Egostick is really dead. It's getting ridiculous. It has been almost 4 months now. She is practically begging him to come back, wondering where he is hiding. Did he actually just retire? Haru is dying to know where Egostick went and what he is up to. Meanwhile, in some shady dark room, a villain whispers, "When Dr. Kim Sun-woo gets out of prison, we must make sure he sees this project completed with his own eyes." Once that happens, all of Korea will fall right at Hanin Group's feet, and absolutely nobody can stop them. Cue the classic evil scientist maniacal laughter. Cut to the cozy side of things, where Ha-yul and Subin are whipping up some food in the kitchen. Ha-yul already knew that Subin was the infamous criminal who got kidnapped by Egostick back in the day. 4 months have flown by since that crazy event, and despite all the wild rumors, Subin is actually living her best life. Da-in, the secret genius behind Egostick, even moved the whole squad into a gorgeous house with amazing sunlight. Da-in can't help but complain, asking So-eun why on earth she still goes to sleep in the basement. Like, didn't you literally used to call that dark hole our ultimate ego base? Ha-yul knows deep down that if Da-in ever comes back badly hurt, her healing magic is the only thing that can save him. They're getting dangerously close to the massive disaster cooked up by the Han-eun group. It's almost showtime, but right then, So-eun bursts through the door. "Mango Stick, so you were hiding here. Let's go commit some crimes already. I'm dying of boredom." Da-in knows the countdown is officially over, so he quickly gathers the entire crew together. Ha-yul asks in pure confusion, "Wait, why do we actually have to commit crimes?" This simple question completely stumps the other 3, leaving them speechless. I mean, they really should give her a solid explanation. So-eun groans, "Old man, hurry up and get to the point." Da-in freezes instantly, completely devastated that she's calling him old man instead of bro. Da-in sighs, explaining that since they are villains, crimes are just part of the job, and honestly, you and I wouldn't have it any other way. Trust me on this, their operations absolutely never hurt any ordinary people. To keep up Egostick's evil clout, they gotta put on a wild show, create crazy dilemmas, and constantly clash with Stardust. Basically, they stage fake terror attacks that actually help her. This time it is the bridge collapse plot, because a giant monster hits Yoido this winter. If left alone, that beast would head north and wreck the entire peninsula. But by blowing up the bridge during this planned villain raid, the monster falls straight into the deep water. And since water is its ultimate weakness, The beast will instantly drown. Talk about a cheat code. They pull off a crime and erase a monster at once. It is literally a perfect two birds with one stone play. Honestly, no one knows how Kim Dane gets this crazy intel, but our boy just acts mysterious and calls it a business secret. This plan will crush a villain and lock in their raid. Plus, it is not even just to impress Stardust this time. Once Soeun hears that she is totally hyped and asks what kind of vibe they are going for this time, Dane smiles and says, "We are flexing with cash." Moments later, the stream goes live and the chat absolutely explodes. The legend is back. Dane proudly tells the camera that Egostic has finally returned. Now watch closely. You already know what comes next, right? What else can I do on a bridge but blow it sky high? The civilians on the bridge suddenly realize things just got real. With a massive boom, both exits are completely blocked off. Dane stares straight into the camera and tells everyone to freeze and drop whatever they are doing. He announces that the guests are ready and the actual players are all the good citizens watching this stream nationwide. Basically all of you. And the rules are super simple. Drop your account number on our site to instantly get 100,000 won. This event ends at 7 p.m. tonight. But if over 500,000 people take the cash, I blow up this bridge with everyone on it. Choose wisely. Free cash or a massive explosion. The ultimate nationwide choice between 100,000 won and the bridge officially starts. To tease her, Dane adds one last message to Stardust. You do not need to come today. Go get some rest. The chat immediately starts clowning him, saying this sweetheart villain is just trying to protect his favorite girl and let her rest. But tell a hero to stay home and they will show up anyway, no matter what. Okay, I know what you are thinking, but check this out. Stardust actually shows up and Dane nearly drops his detonator in sheer shock. He forces a nervous smile to act cool, greeting her with a casual, "Long time no see." But this time, Stardust just glares daggers at him, leaving Dane totally confused about what went wrong. She just stares silently. Meanwhile, across town, some random office worker is happily staring down at his phone screen. He eagerly tells his boss to check out his phone. Just put in your account to get 100,000 won. If 500,000 people do it, the bridge blows. It is an Egostic raid. The boss frowns and asks who would actually take dirty money. The worker casually replies that he already claimed his cash. The boss totally loses it on him, demanding how he could do something so reckless. The worker quickly apologizes, admitting he signed up the very second he saw the news. Then he realizes something and praises his boss for his top-tier acting. Some people even call up their moms to get their banking info, claiming they are sending them pocket cash. And wild enough, the cash actually hits their accounts. Back on the bridge, Dane never expected people to be this shameless. To make matters worse, Stardust is absolutely burning a hole through him. Is she waiting for him to blow the bridge before making a move? Why is she just staring at him like that? Did the original lore have some hidden bridge backstory he missed? He seriously did not expect her to be this incredibly mad. He feels slightly guilty, but there is no other way. After all, he is doing all of this to save her. If the catastrophic black disaster goes down like the original story, the current Stardust has absolutely zero chance of stopping it. That tragedy was the first real soul-crushing event in the original storyline. After that, the lighthearted superhero comic took a massive nosedive into pitch-black drama. Dane checks his phone for an update. In the battle between Cash and the bridge, 450,000 people already cashed out with 3 hours left. So what do you and I take from this? These citizens are wild. Even if he does nothing, he basically wins. Honestly, Dane even finds himself low-key hoping he loses this time. He turns the stream back on and says, "Dear citizens of Korea, I cannot believe you actually grabbed that cash. Let's see how some heartless jerks ruined his whole hostage plan. And these helpless hostages who could get blown up are completely out of his control. Dane worried the hostages trapped inside their cars would act weird again, so he went and interviewed one. Thanks for your time. Please introduce yourself. The guy casually says, "Hello everyone, my name is Cho Youngjin." Dane asks him, "Youngjin, you are in a literal life or death situation right now. Aren't you terrified?" Youngjin just laughs right in his face. What's there to be nervous about? As long as the live stream viewers don't take the money, the bridge and I are safe, right? I can only apologize on their behalf. Tons of people who already claimed the 100,000 won started apologizing in the chat, while others began to hesitate. Dame could only awkwardly reply, "Thank you for having so much faith in our fellow citizens." Pay attention here because he literally asks Youngjin for his final words on live television. Youngjin cheers, "Let's go Korea! I trust you all." Meanwhile, Stardust couldn't figure out Ego Stick's master plan. Meanwhile, Dane was so mentally drained from this whole ordeal that he nearly fainted. He just hoped his next interview would yield a normal human reaction. But the second he opened another car window, a massive roar erupted. It's Ego Stick. The hostages went absolutely wild, screaming about how handsome he is and how they need to buy lottery tickets. Wait, if we die today, we can't buy tickets, right? Honestly, they looked way too excited. Ego Stick, we are your biggest fans, but are you seriously about to blow us up? You threaten us every time, but always let everyone go. Dane's mind went completely blank, and he awkwardly ended the interview right there. And then the hostages actually begged Dane for his autograph. Dane definitely didn't expect to sign autographs today, and the chat was dying, joking they couldn't even tell who the victims were. To top it off, they cheered, "Thanks for the 400,000 won, we are getting malatang later." Though if we die today, we can't eat it, Dame silently swore to never interview civilians ever again. We both know his master plan is ruined, but he still has to start the live stream. The 7 o'clock deadline is here. It is 100,000 won versus the bridge. Time to reveal the final results. The chat was split, with many claiming we wouldn't hit 500,000. Some felt guilty and apologized to Youngjin, while others panicked about how they'd commute to work if the bridge got destroyed. Dane let out a dark, cold laugh. The final tally is in, and 500,000 people took the money. Korea's citizens really are something else. Now enjoy the final fireworks fueled by your own greed. With a massive boom, the bridge began to blow. Stardust realized he actually went through with it as Dane looked at the camera dramatically, bidding them all farewell. Deafening explosions echoed, tearing the entire massive bridge apart. But because Dane had been floating in midair for so long, his energy was completely depleted. He wanted to watch Stardust save everyone one last time and then vanish. But the final car was too far away. At this rate, Stardust wouldn't reach it. So Dame pushed past his limits and used his telekinesis to shove the falling car closer. That tiny nudge let Stardust catch the car, saving everyone just in time. But immediately after, Dane's head spun violently, and he plummeted straight out of the sky. Just before hitting the ground, he teleported back home, where Subin and Soeun immediately rushed to his side. Dane was seriously injured once again, and seeing him like this, Soeun instantly burst into tears. The damage was incredibly severe, and with Hyul still out, they had absolutely no idea how to save him. Meanwhile, Stardust couldn't stop thinking about Ego Stick, carefully analyzing every single crime he had pulled off so far. He was even the one who warned her never to reveal her real face. Without his constant pushing, she never would have stepped up, but his voice always gave her the strength to keep fighting. He understood her completely, telling her she could do it, urging her to stand up and save everyone. He was supposed to be a ruthless criminal, yet he'd gone completely ghost. She had so many questions for him. Are you actually a villain? Are you really a bad guy? Ego Stick, who are you? But thanks to those unexplainable feelings, you and I know she couldn't ask him a single thing. Yo, let's dive into this crazy story where Egostic actually used his powers to save a car during his own terror attack. The passengers had no clue they almost died, but Stardust was starting to get Egostic less and less. Out of nowhere, a voice behind her asks why she is standing all alone getting so sentimental. This terror attack had 0 casualties too. That voice belongs to the A-rank hero, Frostblade, teasing her. Shinharu quietly thanks Lee Sola, who sighs and mentions how nice it is to enjoy a peaceful day. She then asks if Haru is off the clock, why is she still working? Is this about Egostic again? Seriously, stop overthinking it. The president is secretly thrilled about the dropping crime rates, even if he does not show it. Seeing how that operation went down, Shinharu opens up. She feels Egostic might not just be tormenting her, and maybe he is not even a bad guy. Meanwhile, over at the hideout, Kim Da-in is chilling in the recovery pod when Lee Ha-yul visits. She wonders if helping him is right. Sure, he seems nice, but what if he turns greedy and tries to steal her healing powers? He did not even know her, but he still risked his life to save her and Chayun. Now watch closely as Ha-yul finally decides to trust Da-in, making his plan to recruit a healer a total success. Shinharu explains to Isola how weird it is that Egostic's terror attacks never hurt civilians. He only takes out actual bad guys, and he even saved that last car on the bridge. Hearing this, Isola just has to tease her friend. Oh my gosh, Haru, do not tell me you believe that crazy conspiracy that Egostic is some secret hero. Are you in his fan club? Shinharu instantly denies the whole thing. Lee Sol-ah admits Egostic is suspicious, but points out he is still putting real effort into being a villain. Sure, there are no civilian casualties yet, but that only applies to innocent bystanders. For now, they must treat him as a bad guy, but Haru believes he has a bigger master plan. She just has no idea what that plan is, but Sola cuts her off with a sigh. All right, let's pause for a second because Sola is totally changing the subject to ask Haru about her love life. She tells Haru to date during her downtime, but Haru fires back that Sola has been single her whole life. A flustered Sola makes excuses, blaming her strict family's control instead of a lack of dating options. See, the A-rank hero Frostblade is not just a powerful fighter. She is also the wealthy heiress to the Meteor Corporation, and Haru finds her panic incredibly cute. Meanwhile, the dangerous S-rank villain Dr. Kim Sun-woo is finally out of prison. As the lead scientist for the Hanan Group, he immediately demands an update on their evil project. His lackey reports that the plan is at 56% on track for next September. Dr. Kim coldly snaps that it is way too slow, demanding completion before winter ends. He vows to trample Korea under his feet, right as the news reports that this crazy scientist has been officially set free. He was let go at 7 o'clock today and has already returned to the Hanan Group. A dangerous new player is on the board, and the real chaos is starting. 3 months fly by, and as the winter snow falls, our main squad is just chilling outside. They get into a huge snowball fight, but Da-in starts using his telekinesis to cheat. She calls him a dirty cheater, but Da-in still wraps her up in a massive snowball. Later, they head inside for some snacks, but as Da-in happily eats, So-eun launches a surprise attack. And like that, 3 whole months pass by as the crew enjoys a peaceful winter break. Da-in thought about pulling off another villain stunt during this long break, but since Stardust is already way stronger than in the original Webtoon, he does not need to push her anymore. Plus, Ha-yul is looking way happier lately, proving she has finally opened up her heart to the group. But things are taking a turn for the worse with Egostic's reputation. Angry citizens start blaming him for the bridge collapse, sending his reputation straight down into the absolute gutter. Even bribe takers blame him. Trust me, you and I must watch what happens next. They say Egostic caused this crazy mess, but you and I know his game. He totally baited everyone and called them accomplices. But Kim Dane did not care one bit. No cap, this was exactly the kind of villain he wanted to be. Now, he just had to wait for the black disaster to slide through. And the good times kept rolling. Every single day was super chill and peaceful. But then, boom, a huge explosion went off somewhere else, and Dr. Kim Sun-woo was completely losing his mind. How did things go so wrong? No matter, right now, he just had to escape. The problem was, he couldn't bring himself to dump the research he spent his whole life on. The behemoth was only supposed to be a simple test sample. How did it get self-awareness? Meanwhile, the Hero Association just got a major distress call. Stardust immediately flew over. This terrifying monster had spawned out of nowhere, putting innocent people in serious danger. And that beast was heading straight for the city. Stardust was ready to throw hands, but the president told her to chill. Like, how is she supposed to take down a massive monster all by herself? Stardust was like, even if there is no way I will make one, boss, just grab some popcorn and watch me work. But watch closely, because the very next second, the monster randomly glitches out on its own. With one massive leap, it dove straight into the ocean and died instantly. Neither of them could even process what just happened. The president just told Stardust to turn in a report tomorrow, while Kim Dane was literally eating popcorn, enjoying the entire show. While poor Shinharu was stuck writing the paperwork, Kim Dane was home browsing the online forums. Everyone online was asking the same thing. Was Agostic really still a bad guy? That monster, known as the Black Disaster, already seemed to have some actual brain power. If it got fully smart, it could evolve in a whole new direction, and even 3 S-rank heroes would struggle all day to beat it. And even then, their chances of winning would be pretty slim. If the Black Disaster grew too smart and learned to avoid its main weakness, water, then every hero in Korea would be toast. Online, thousands of people were already hyping up Agostic. I know what you're thinking. And yeah, if Agostic hadn't destroyed that bridge first, absolutely nobody in Korea could have stopped that beast. But still, he was officially a villain. The next day, the news broke some massive investigation details. The shady Hanoon Group experiment by one of the country's biggest corporations caused this whole mess, absolutely shaking the entire nation. Hanoon Group went totally bankrupt overnight, and now not a single boss could be found, including their chairman, Dr. Kim Sun-woo, the chief director behind this wild experiment, and all his researchers had mysteriously vanished. Kim Dane and the crew were watching this unfold, with Lee Hui-yeol saying they got what they deserved. Zhou went even further, shouting that they should hunt them down, dig up their graves, and worse, whip their corpses and completely wipe out 3 generations of their families. But Kim Dane knew those guys would crawl back out soon. More importantly, he ordered the whole squad to meet up after dinner. Seyoon knew he was plotting something again. Right on cue, Kim Dane pulled out a map of Hanoon Group's underground lab. And inside was something absolutely overpowered. Behemoth was the ultimate bioweapon from Hanoon Group's illegal monster army project, capable of blocking Shadow Walker and even surviving a nuclear blast. It was a life form made from a miraculous substance, and the Black Disaster's body was actually modeled right after it. Its power was going to be completely insane. Hearing that everyone looked completely dumbfounded, and Seyeon immediately started complaining. So we're dealing with another monster army. Are you planning to destroy your body again, or have things just been too peaceful? Lubin chimed in, saying 2 more holes in his stomach would probably look pretty sick. Seyoon added if they should pierce their ears too, and the next second, So and Lubin charged straight at Kim Dane. Kim Dane quickly explained that in the original Webtoon story, the Hero Association didn't do anything after, so everything should be totally fine. But meanwhile, the Hero Association detected multiple monster life signs down in the lab. It looked like the dangerous beast Hanoon Group experimented on were still kicking. Shadow Walker tried sneaking in, but got blocked by weird energy wavelengths. Trust me, you and I need to see what happens next. All right, you and I are diving into a mission where his shadows can't reach and backup is totally cut off. The boss asks, "Are you really going, Stardust?" Heck yeah, she is, officially kicking off the Hanung Underground Lab raid. And outside, Kim Den was prepping to make his move. Going in blind had him totally sweating, so when his comms buzzed telling him he could still back out, Kim Dane immediately started flexing to act tough. A real man is never scared of monsters, obviously. Still, Saw and Lubin seriously warned him to watch his step down there. Like always, Kim Dane goes ahead and hits go live. Welcome to the Han Group Underground Lab, the literal ground zero of that massive disaster. What were they cooking up here? Since his chat is dying to know, let's go explore. Meanwhile, the association had completely lost their signal with Stardust. To make matters worse, they realize Egostic just snuck in too. The president instantly loses his mind. Who does this dude think he is? Why did he go in? Then he tells his aide to grab popcorn. Half caramel, half salted, please. This creepy lab is pitch black as Kim Dean whispers to the camera. What did these shady creeps do down here anyway? Everyone watching the stream is totally freaked out, spamming the chat about how terrifying this place is and how the vibe is dead wrong. Kim Dane tries his hardest to stay cool, claiming he is the guy who makes all of Korea shake. How could I be scared? But a sudden noise jump scares him so hard, he reflexively activates his telekinesis on the spot. Looking closer, he realizes it is literally just a tiny kitten. The little fur ball looks completely harmless, too. But hold up, why would a cat even be down here? Things were starting to get super weird. Right on cue, the kitty mutates into a grotesque monster covered in a ridiculous amount of creepy arms. Elsewhere, Stardust hears the echo of gunshots. Inside, Kim Dane was already starting to heavily regret his life choices. He totally should have listened to Sun and stayed home. Training his telekinesis on his couch sounded way better right now. But with that mutant sprinting straight for his face, crying about it won't help. No matter what, he has to drag Behemoth out alive. So Kim Dane uses his mind powers to levitate his guns and unloads a massive barrage of bullets. Once the smoke finally clears, the beast is gone. Kim Dane has absolutely no clue how deep this maze goes. During the crazy scramble, he lost his gear and his stream camera. Even worse, the reception down here is dead, meaning no contact with Suin. Okay, now Kim Dane is actually sweating bullets. But suddenly, with a massive crash, someone busts right through the concrete wall. That familiar, overpowering vibe makes Kim Dane freeze. No way. Could it actually be Stardust? At that exact second, Stardust spots Egostic too. They instantly square up, demanding answers from each other at the exact same time. "Why are you here?" Stardust replies coldly. "I am a hero, so obviously I am here to clean up this mess." Kim Deani thinks it over and realizes her logic is actually solid. Her logic was flawless, but to Stardust, this whole setup felt like a wild surprise game. Before Kim Dane can even process what is happening, he gets completely sidetracked by her smug grin. Stardust tells him, "Surrender quietly right now, and I promise not to make this hurt too badly." Just in the nick of time, Kim Dane teleports away, barely dodging her lightning-fast strike. He quickly yells, "Hold on, stop! I know, I am a bad guy to you, but look around us first." Pay close attention here, because neither of them actually knows what kind of crazy facility this is. Since we are stuck here, why not team up until we hit the bottom floor? Stardust immediately questions his motives. "Why are you here, Kim Dean?" Claims it is just pure curiosity after they caused that massive disaster. Maybe they built something even worse. After thinking it over for a brief second, Stardust actually agrees to cooperate. Fighting off these weird monsters solo would be tough. Since Egostic is here, she might as well use him as muscle. Kim Dane honestly cannot believe his random suggestion actually worked. Now, you and I can see Stardust is playing it smart, keeping him close, because trying to capture him now means he just teleports away. Perhaps all those nagging questions she has had about him will finally get answered. answered today. But as soon as they step inside, Kim Dane starts snooping around, making Stardust so mad, she throws a hard punch. "You are a villain. Stop snooping through classified files." That sudden swing almost gives Kim Dane a total heart attack. Even so, just the thought of working with Stardust makes him secretly super happy inside. Stardust relies on her sharp instincts to find the right path, leaving Kim Dina watching in total shock as she easily finds her way. Has she unlocked her sixth sense already? We will find out together next time. All right, you and I are about to watch these two step into a room built specifically to shut down superpowers. Facing her sheer physical pressure, Kim Dane has no choice but to agree, feeling like a total lab rat. Once inside, he instantly realizes his telekinesis is dead, and his teleportation has completely stopped working as well. A second later, Stardust strolls in and immediately decks the wall just to test the suppression. Yep, her powers are totally gone too. Kim Dane cannot help but say, "I might be a villain, but I would not lie about this." But inside, he is sweating. Is she really this strong with just raw physical power? Her growth is honestly terrifying. Right then, an alarm blares and the heavy door behind them slams shut. Inside that sealed room, we are left with a powerless villain and a hero completely stripped of her strength. Stardust immediately starts throwing hands at the metal door, but Kim Dane tells her it is totally no use. Do not waste your energy. Check the timer over there. This door will open automatically in 3 hours. Smashing it right now is completely useless, so we just have to wait until time is up. Then he notices Stardust scraped her knuckles from punching the metal door. He sighs, asking why she is always being so incredibly reckless. You do not have your superpowers to protect you right now. Remember, Stardust immediately eyes him with major suspicion. Kim Dane rolls his eyes, telling her to give him her hand. After a tense pause, she actually relents, letting him bandage up her knuckles. She mutters all awkwardly that she is not saying thank you, which gets a quick smirk out of him. That literally sounds exactly like saying thank you, but seconds later, she is back to punching the walls. Now pay attention to this next part. Kim Dane realizes he cannot stop her, so he just decides to take a nap. There is literally nothing to do for 3 hours, so he tells Stardust she might as well chill out too. But come on, there is no way he is actually sleeping. He cannot lower his guard for even a split second. Without powers, he is stuck with a superhero whose raw physical strength easily dwarfs any normal grown man. 2 hours slowly tick by, and suddenly Kim Dane notices the oxygen in the room is running dangerously low. This is getting seriously bad. Even Stardust is starting to gasp for air now. Clutching her face, she suddenly asks if he was the one who stopped the car on the bridge. His heart absolutely sinks. She knows. As she presses him again about the car, he tries to play it totally dumb. "I am just a villain who only knows how to charge forward," he jokes, trying to dodge. She is not buying it, asking him why he saved that plane if he is such a bad guy. Inside, he is totally panicking, sweating bullets as he tries to make up an excuse. He tells her, "Look, I am the villain and you are the hero. Your existence is what makes me complete." That is just the kind of crazy dynamic we share. Let's pause for a second. Is it weird for a hero to save people? Stardust does not even reply. Kim Dane knows he sounded way too dramatic because of his panic, but he can just blame the oxygen loss. She pushes further, asking why he blew up the bridge. Did he already know that the giant monster was going to appear? Did he know it would head there? He immediately shoots back, asking why she is suddenly believing those ridiculous, wild internet conspiracy theories. He claims he was shocked too, and it was pure coincidence, but her cold face does not change. Kim Dane's nerves are on fire. What does that look? Is she testing him? Did he slip up? The bridge, the plane, the black disaster. She is definitely not just reading rumors. Through their encounters, she is starting to suspect he is not just some average run-of-the-mill bad guy. She is questioning all his past terror attacks. Talk about crazy hero intuition. If he screws up this explanation, things will get way worse. He has no choice but to go head on. Kim Dane suddenly bursts out laughing. You got me. I knew that monster was coming. Everything was set up to handle it, so what? She immediately demands to know how. Do you actually have future sight? Kim Dane just grins and says, hacking. The entire network of Korea is in his pocket, so of course he would know Han and Group's classified info. But Stardust still smells a rat asking why a villain would protect innocent people. Kim Dane just sneers. Because I do not want anyone stealing my spotlight. I stop monsters myself. If people suffer too much, they will ignore me. And trust me, you and I know he is just craving attention. You and I are starting today with a main character who literally does not care if regular folks live or die. Got it now. Hearing that Stardust gets up and marches right over to Kim Dane with this super weird look on her face. Our boy Kim Dane is sweating bullets, thinking she is about to throw hands, but she just tells him to move since those 3 hours are finally up. With her powers back on, Stardust absolutely obliterates the door with one epic punch. So they keep cruising through the laboratory when they spot a major warning sign on a nearby machine. It says, temporary teleporter notes. Warning, target might escape using teleportation, so keep A-rank protection active at all times. Target loves attacking from behind. Watch out for the Mantis model. Kim Dane finally realizes these scientists actually made a teleporting ability user. Could this be Behemoth Prototype 0? Yeah, this is the exact experimental chamber where the Black Disaster used to be kept. It definitely busted out of here. Honestly, this tedious underground lab tour has finally reached its end. Nothing else left to see here. Stardust figures that since this is just a prototype, the actual real body is probably hiding nearby. Her gut instinct is so dead on that Kim Dane just has to play along and suggests checking out the other side. But Stardust insists on heading the opposite way. Seconds later they arrive, and Kim Dane recognizes it instantly. It is the Behemoth itself. Right after Stardust casually walks off to read some files, leaving Kim Dane standing right next to the Behemoth all by himself. They are only working together temporarily, and he just tried super hard to prove he is a real bad guy. But she is way too relaxed. Why does she keep turning her back to him so easily? That seriously wounds our boy's pride as a professional villain. Now pay attention here, because words are not cutting it anymore. To show her, Kim Dane grabs the experimental Behemoth. Stardust whips around and demands to know what he is doing. Kim Dane just grins and says, what else? Betraying you, of course. Stardust gets so incredibly mad, she is literally speechless for a second. In the original Webtoon, Dr. Kim Sun-woo actually used Behemoth to battle Stardust, which means this monster can 100% be controlled. Stardust charges straight at him with maximum power, yelling that she is going to beat him to a pulp. The giant fist of the Behemoth clashes directly with Stardust, and their epic showdown officially begins. Just a few trades in, and the entire lab and all the gear are already getting smashed to pieces. Kim Dane screams out, asking if she is trying to bring down the whole building. At this rate, the entire place is going to collapse. But Stardust coldly tells him to fight fair and square. Kim Dane just laughs, asking if she has ever seen a villain fight honestly. Stardust, this is what being a villain is all about. Turn your back for 1 second and you get stabbed. Right then, a creepy mantis monster ambushes Stardust from behind, moving with insane speed. You and I both know he is a self-proclaimed villain, yet Kim Dane teleports right in front of Stardust to block that deadly strike. Stardust is completely baffled as to why Agostic would ever protect her. Kim Dane just tells her that she owes him a nail, and then he teleports away into thin air. Meanwhile, at the base, Seyoon is complaining about how Big Bro is always running around outside and ignoring their calls. Like, does he even care about us waiting at home? I am literally getting wrinkles here. Suddenly, there is a loud crash. Seun instantly figures that Kim Dae-in is back and prepares to nag him about why he took so incredibly long. They suddenly could not reach him at all, while Lee Soo-bin and Lee Ha-yul hear her loud scream. They rush in, only to find Kim Dae-in passed out on the floor, covered in blood, totally shocking Lee Soo-bin. All she can think of is grabbing the first aid kit and calling an ambulance, while Seun completely panics since he has lost a lethal amount of blood. Lee Ha-yul immediately shoves Seun out of the way and activates her secret healing power. A brilliant wave of light flashes, and Kim Dae-in's nasty wounds finally start patching up. Back at the lab, Stardust stares at the massive pool of blood he left behind. The dude lost so much, and she is more confused than ever. Why did he save her? Who is Agostic really? Once Lee Ha-yul heals Kim, Dan-shun and Lee Soo-bin immediately slap handcuffs on him. They are terrified he will just keep causing trouble. Kim Dae-in feels like his very last ounce of dignity is totally gone. Meanwhile, Lee Ha-yul and her brother get ready for school. Before heading out, she apologizes for hiding her healing powers all this time. But Kim Dae-in does not mind one bit. Instead, he sincerely thanks her for saving his life, smiling as he wishes her a great first day of high school. And as we wrap up, Seun warns him that if he tries slipping out again, she is never going to forgive him. You and I are diving right back into this madness. She points at a heavy round object nearby and asks, "What is this thing?" Kim Dae-in casually shrugs and says, "Oh, that's just a stress relief stone for relaxing, so hand it over." She immediately snaps back, "How is a giant heavy ball supposed to relieve stress?" Kim Dae-in just shrugs, pulls the sphere over, and whispers, "Behemoth, wake up." Seun and Lubin completely lose their minds when the heavy metal handcuffs on Kim Dae-in's wrists instantly shatter into pieces. The very next second, endless, creepy tentacles shoot straight toward them. The tentacles wrap them up tight and dangle them in midair. When Kim Dae-in asks if they learned their lesson, they literally start begging for their lives and swear they will never do it again. Meanwhile, Shin Haru is tossing and turning in bed, unable to sleep because Agostic is living rent-free in her head. Is that crazy villain actually okay? This goes on for a whole month, and she is still completely out of it. Her friend Ji-hyun finally asks Haru, "Why are you spacing out so much lately? Spill the tea, because something is definitely bothering you. Come on, tell your big sister." After hesitating, Shinharu asks, "What does it mean if a villain actually saves a hero?" Ji-hyun looks totally lost. "What are you even talking about?" Now pay attention because the reply she gets is gold. Haru covers by claiming it is a novel, but Ji-hyun says she is hooked on one too. It sounds exactly like what you just said. Want to check it out. The title, The Forbidden Love Between the Villain Agostic and the Hero Stardust. The second, Haru sees that she facepalms straight onto her desk in pure despair. But deep down, she still cannot stop wondering if he is actually okay. Could that guy really be dead? No way, right? A sneaky, plotting mastermind like him would never go out that easily. This is the man who literally played all of Korea like a fiddle. He has got to be alive and kicking somewhere. So when is his next big scheme dropping? Meanwhile, Kim Dae-in has finally made a major decision of his own. For now, he is taking a break from leading villain missions because the man just wants some quiet time. Sin suggests he should just retire forever, but Kim Dae-in says he is only temporarily stepping back from the spotlight. I know what you are thinking. Who could replace him? Sin is totally clueless. But Kim Dae-in knows he cannot always be on the front lines. Up until now, he was the heavy hitter of the squad, so he had to handle the dirty work himself. But now they have Behemoth, who can easily keep Stardust busy on his own. To give Stardust a real challenge, he needs a heavy-duty accomplice to act as her new rival. Basically, a new teammate is about to enter the chat. Cut to a different location where some guy is pouring his heart out, crying that he loves her. He says this white bouquet represents his love, so please accept it. Kim Dae-in, having read the original novel, knows this is the exact moment he was waiting for. But the woman coldly snaps, "Look, customer, get lost." She complains she is extremely stressed out and asks if he is seriously playing games in her sacred workplace. She completely shuts him down with one sentence. Watching this live, Kim Dane is absolutely loving every single second of it. Her name is Choi Si-hee. Kim Dane has been keeping a close eye on her for a while because in the original Webtoon, she eventually becomes the ultimate supervillain, Elix, even though she currently lives as a normal, sweet citizen. She is constantly fighting crazy, destructive urges deep inside, and this part-time gig is just a temporary way to keep her inner demon locked down. To put it simply, she is a straight-up ticking time bomb. Choi Si-hee complains about this exhausting lifestyle, especially since she has to head to a second job right after this. She glances around to make absolutely sure the coast is clear. Finally, she unleashes her hidden powers to blow off some serious steam. And letting loose like this instantly makes her feel 1,000,000 times better. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out behind her, and she instantly recognizes the guy who just showed up. It is Egostic. Kim Dane says he has been looking for someone like her for a very long time. So Choi, how would she feel about using those powers to help him pull off some villain stuff? Hearing the phrase villain stuff, Choi instantly calls him a total lunatic. But Kim Dane laughs. Do you really think everyone with powers is just a bad guy? He dares her to attack him so he can see her true power. Though she refuses at first, they quickly start throwing hands. Kim Dane fights back, using Behemoth's power, forcing Choi to go completely all out and unleash her true destructive force. But attacks like that cannot even touch Kim Dane. Even so, this wild rush is exactly what she has been craving. The sheer thrill makes her ecstatic. But before she can truly enjoy the fight, Kim Dane leaves her with a 1-week offer. Trust me, you and I cannot wait to see what she decides. Choi thinks this over very carefully. With those parting words, Kim Dae-in vanished. Trust me, you and I are about to see how this one teleportation changes everything. Before she could even react, man, that teleportation rush was unreal. But cut to the other side, and Dae-in was staring at his game screen in absolute shock. So sighed dramatically. What a tragedy, Dae-in. This is officially the end of the line for you. Dae-in instantly protested So-eun. How could you do this to me after I worked so hard to raise you? But she just cracked up. Smell you later, big bro Lee Soo-bin tried to plead, asking her to spare him since he was practically bankrupt, but she had zero mercy. Zip it and start washing. 3 days worth of dishes for a family of 5 are waiting for you right now. Dae-in sighed. He really raised a little savage. Soo-bin then chimed in. Bro, aren't you supposed to be scouting that new recruit? It has already been 3 days. Is it really cool for you to just be goofing off like this? Dae-in calmly replied that by now, she had definitely taken the bait. And honestly, Si-hee was currently totally wiped out. Even her manager noticed she looked off and told her to step outside to get some fresh air. So Si-hee walked out and checked her phone. Let's see what happens when she finally looks up this Mango guy everyone keeps hyping up. The massive headline read, Korea's #1 most influential villain, the legendary Egostic. This guy was the only villain with a literal fan club, pulling in more clout than actual top-tier heroes. Only then did Se-hee realize this guy was a total heavy hitter, and his wild villain activities weren't even standard crimes. Besides some broken buildings his wild stunts had caused 0 casualties. Se-hee figured maybe she could actually give this a shot, since she possessed crazy electrical powers. But surprisingly, she had never unleashed her full power because her parents despised superhumans and strictly kept her under lock and key. She was basically an overcharged battery with absolutely no way to dump all that excess electricity. That pressure kept building up, slowly twisting Se-hee's destructive urges into a bizarre, intense obsession. Which is why Dae-in gave her that recruiting offer, with a strict 1-week deadline to decide. He wanted her to weigh her options carefully. As the days ticked by, Se-hee struggled to hold back her explosive power. Day after day, she bottled it up. A week flew by, and while walking home, she suddenly caught a faint noise nearby. She immediately yelled in pure excitement, "Agostic, what took you so incredibly long?" But turning around, she saw it was just a stray cat. Total letdown, right? But don't blink, because that's when a very familiar voice spoke up right behind her. "So, Sehi, did you think about my offer?" She didn't even hesitate, shouting that she was absolutely down. "I'll do whatever you want. Villain stuff, crazy crimes, literally anything. Just sign me up right now. Please just let me blow something up." Hearing that, Daein instantly triggered his teleportation power. A split second later, he warped her straight to their secret lair. Daein announced to everyone, "Go ahead and say hello to our newest member, Si-hee." Subin and Hyul greeted her warmly, but Soeun couldn't help but complain. "Wait, seriously, another girl?" Egostic then pulled off his mask, introducing himself as Kim Daein, and Sehi instantly recognized his face. "Wait, aren't you that cute guy from the cafe last week?" As soon as it clicked, she flushed bright red. Overwhelmed with sheer embarrassment, her electrical powers surged out of control, instantly shorting out the entire base's power grid. Plunged into pitch-black darkness, someone hollered out to turn the lights back on, as the screen cut to black. Another voice complained that her electric discharge was so strong, their entire body had literally gone completely numb. That power was honestly pretty epic. Suddenly, a bright beam of light sliced through the darkness, pointing straight at Sehi's flustered face. A kid grumbled, "What on earth are you guys doing? I actually have homework to finish. Can somebody please turn on the lights?" That annoyed kid was actually Hyul's younger brother, Chae-yoon. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the city, someone was burning with curiosity about where Egostic was and what he was planning. On the forums, everyone was guessing when Egostic would finally return. One thread said to hit recommend to see him faster. It was literally titled "Mango Stick vs. Apple Mango, the true hero of our era" on Egostick's official fan page. Suddenly, a system notification popped up, congratulating her on being promoted to a Mango crew member. Shinharu had absolutely no clue how she ended up here, remembering what Frostblade told her earlier. "Did you actually register on Egostic's fan forum?" That question kept bouncing in her head, so she tried forcing herself to sleep. But then she remembered Egostic blocking that attack. And that's where we leave it, with him reminding her that she owes him one. All right, you and I are jumping right into a wild ride. Even trying to sleep, she keeps thinking of him. Back at base, Choi Se accidentally caused a total blackout with her powers. She kept saying sorry over and over, blaming herself for everything. Sawon told her not to sweat it. He was free anyway and could easily fix up the broken wiring. Patting Choi Se on the shoulder, Kim Daein suggested they go somewhere together, leading her off to a nice, quiet spot. He told her nobody was around, leaving just the two of them. Totally confused, Choi Se asked what he was up to. Kim Daein smiled and told her to finally unleash her powers. She had always wanted to go completely all out. Right. Hearing that Choi Se fired up her lightning spark, she warned him he better dodge fast. As that massive thunder exploded, Kim Daein instantly used his teleportation to get some safe distance. He realized this girl was absolutely ridiculously strong, as a blinding flash of electricity lit up the dark sky. Totally drained after letting all that energy blow, she panted and asked if he was satisfied. Daein promised she could use her powers freely as long as she stayed with them, but Choi Se worriedly asked if these heist operations would hurt innocent people. Daein quickly promised that they were strictly non-violent. Now, watch closely because things are about to shift. It sounded like total lies, but she still asked how old he actually was. Daein did some quick math and said his current body was 23. Chese paused, realizing they were the exact same age. Since he tracked her down by digging into her past, she asked why he was being so polite. Daein just grinned. He suggested they drop the formalities and welcomed her to Team Ego, which left Choi Se instantly questioning his life choices. Team Ego. What kind of name is that? She seriously cringed at his naming style, but regardless, her official training began right after. Dane told her to imagine bright sparks of electricity wrapping around her entire body. Then, slam that energy straight into the dirt with a massive boom, making the whole ground shake. Sewon, who got blasted awake by the loud racket, groggily asked what they were doing so early in the morning. Dane explained this was emergency training because Choisei would have to go head-to-head against Stardust in their next heist. Choisei doubted if the attack would even land, and Dane felt something was off too, before suddenly remembering. She was actually supposed to channel the electrical energy right into her feet before firing it, so she needed to wrap it around her boots. Choisei pulled it off, floating right up into the air with ease. Let's pause for a second, because this next interaction is comedy gold. Dane wrapped up training, Sewon tossed her some water, and Dane just stared. But Choisei caught him staring instantly. She snapped, demanding to know what his problem was. Shouting that she was sweaty and needed a shower, she angrily chucked the empty bottle right at him, complaining about the intense workout. She asked if he thought everyone had easy telekinesis like him. Dane just smiled and popped his behemoth gravity power. He teased if she wanted to catch hands. And just like that, the two of them started brawling. Watching them, Sewon facepalmed, telling them to grow up. Cut to a month later, and the gang was still up late gaming. Dane was screaming to check the 9 o'clock direction, totally losing his mind and complaining about their teamwork. He roasted their trash aim, and that's how Dane Sewon and Choi ended up secretly gaming way past their bedtime. But right in the middle of their hype, a cold voice cut through the room, scaring Choi so bad she chucked her controller. With the controller gone, Dane took the fall, caught completely red-handed by Lee Subin for staying up way too late. Subin absolutely roasted them for sneaking around to play games. They had a massive villain gig lined up for the day, yet they pulled an all-nighter. They had been on break for too long and got overexcited. Under Subin's death glare, all three of them looked incredibly guilty. Dane tried to smooth things over, suggesting they all just pack it up and go to sleep right now. Choisei and Sewon instantly took the chance to bail, leaving Dane trying to slide away too, under the excuse of resting up. But Subin's cold voice stopped him as the others secretly watched from the side. They both knew Subin was an absolute demon when angry, and nobody wanted to catch that smoke. The next day, Stardust got hit with an emergency alert, warning all civilians to clear the streets and find cover. The dispatch confirmed everyone within a 350-meter radius was evacuated safely with 0 casualties. Racing to the scene, the hero Stardust figured that the legendary villain she had been waiting for was finally back. But once she arrived, trust me, you and I are about to see a brand new face greeting her. All right, you and I are diving into a wild clash with Team Ego's newest villain, Choisei, now called Elix. When Stardust realized it wasn't Mango Stick, she looked pretty disappointed, but she still kept her cool and yelled, "Villain, freeze and surrender right now. If you don't comply, I will be forced to take you down." Choi immediately unleashed her power, shooting a massive bolt of electricity right past Stardust's cheek while introducing herself as Elix. "I am your opponent today," she declared as that warning shot left a tiny scrape on Stardust's face. A week before Elix's big debut, Kim Da-in paid her a visit, leaving her totally confused since training was already over. She asked what he wanted, and Da-in replied that he forgot to teach her an ultimate move called the lightning punch. Sounds totally epic, right? Want to see how it actually works? Choi couldn't help but roast his terrible naming skills, but Da-in secretly laughed because that was actually her own future move name. In the original story, he explained that this skill wasn't just about shooting simple electricity. You have to visualize wrapping pure lightning around your hand, clenching your fist, and then throwing a massive punch. Then you push past your limits to supercharge the voltage, focusing every single ounce of that raw power directly into your fist. Now pay attention here, because Choi was already nailing it, making the air crackle with insane energy. A massive scorched trench was ripped right into the floor, leaving Da-in looking super impressed as he praised her. That is the lightning punch. Pretty wild, huh? You've got 1 week left before the mission, so keep practicing hard. Choi asked if he seriously wanted her to unleash that on Stardust, pointing out how insanely brutal that was. Diane jokingly claimed it was because he was a tragic villain, making Choi snap back with a massive sigh. Are you crazy? You sound like a total clown. Cut to the day of the heist, and Elix was smiling confidently. Is this really the best an A-rank hero can do? Choi's fast barrages kept Stardust on her toes, dodging non-stop. Meanwhile, someone was quietly enjoying the show from afar. Diane set himself up in the ultimate VIP spot with a huge bucket of popcorn, enjoying this epic front-row show made just for him. The constant shocking was pure agony for Stardust, but she knew she had to power through if she wanted to reach Elix. Choi quickly caught on to her plan, realizing that the hero was brute-forcing her way right through the lightning barrier. So Choi immediately cranked her electricity up to the max. Nearby buildings overloaded and started blowing up all around them, making Choi think for a split second that this hero was going to be a breeze. But watch what happens next. Stardust didn't just survive the attack. She forcibly shattered the electric current, leaving Choi completely shell-shocked. She quickly whipped up some lightning to back away, terrified that this hero was basically a monster. Was Egostic seriously fighting people like this all the time? Meanwhile, Stardust was already adapting to Elix's attacks. And that's why Da-in worked so hard to power up Che. He wanted to build up Stardust's physical defense. Compared to the horrific nightmares she survived in the original Webtoon, this training session was basically a walk in the park. Choi kept spamming her lightning blasts, but they were already losing their punch against Stardust. Stardust said coldly, "Your name is Elix, right? It's not too late to surrender, and I can arrest you peacefully." "Get lost! You asked for this!" Choi screamed, right as Stardust blasted forward like a streak of bright light. Choi also gathered the very last of her raw strength. Their fists crashed together with a massive boom, shattering concrete and sending shockwaves everywhere as Diane teleported right out of the blast zone. Popping up safely behind the battlefield, he set up his projector to review how the fight turned out. The video feed was crystal clear. Stardust was barely scratched, though a massive trench was now carved into the ground. Choi, however, was holding her badly injured arm from that insane final clash. Stardust demanded to know who she was talking about earlier, asking who was pulling the strings. But Choi just sneered. "You think I'll talk?" Choi mocked. But Stardust calmly noted she had plenty of time to get answers later. Suddenly, a bright flash of light appeared, and Choi instantly vanished, making Stardust realize exactly who had just arrived on the scene. A second later, a very familiar voice echoed, "Hello, Stardust." "Of course it is me. I am Egostic. Long time no see." Diane had even started a live stream, causing the chat to absolutely explode with his name. Chat was asking about the cool girl, but you and I know the real chaos has begun. All right, let's watch this chat go wild as Egostic gets caught cheating right in front of Stardust. I mean, the second the stream went live, everyone saw him carrying some random girl bridal style. Stardust just stared at him and blurted out, "Are you actually alive?" Kim Dane had no clue why, but he answered, "Yeah, but that is bad news for you, right?" To which Stardust softly replied, "Oh, thank goodness." Kim Dane immediately starts teasing her. "Did you say thank goodness? Man, I did not expect the top hero to worry about me. Should I text you when I am safe next time?" That line instantly turned her face bright red. The girl complained, "Why did you show up so late?" Kim Dane just replied, "Sorry, I wanted to watch first." Only then did Stardust finally realize that Egostic was still holding another woman in his arms. Kim Dane finally noticed the vibe was completely ruined because Stardust looked terrifying as she stepped closer to him. Choi saw he panicked and asked what is wrong with her. Why is she acting so weird? Kim Dane had absolutely no idea either. He could only guess that this was just some classic hero rage. Pay attention here because Stardust looked ready to shred both villains to pieces since Kim Dane had just saved Choi Sahi. She asked coldly, "Egostic, why are you here?" Kim Dane replied, "Me. I came to rescue my comrade." Stardust repeated the word quietly. Comrade's Kim Dane then tapped his screen, projecting several silhouettes. "Let me introduce you to my crew," he said. Ego Stream. "This is the villain alliance I built from scratch." Hearing this, Stardust was completely blown away. Kim Dane continued, "I have got several allies who are just as powerful as Elix right here in my arms. From now on, I will not be doing these villain jobs alone, so you had better watch your back." Stardust. Then Kim Dane suddenly yelled, "Zap, her electric beast!" 100,000 volts of lightning instantly shot towards Stardust. Choi Sahi immediately complained, "Did you not tell me to never use that move before?" Kim Dane just smiled at Stardust. "Stardust, you are still way too slow to catch me. Keep trying." With that, the two of them vanished into thin air, leaving a furious Stardust screaming for them to stop. She smashed her fist into the dirt in pure rage. For some reason, this insane irritation was bubbling up inside her. Just thinking about how lovey-dovey Egostic and Elix were acting a second ago was driving her crazy. Her mind kept running wild, picturing all kinds of weird conversations between them. Stardust gritted her teeth, swearing that the next time they crossed paths, she was absolutely going to take him down. Meanwhile, Kim Dane had warped somewhere else, slamming his fist hard against the ground. With another quick teleport, he landed deep underground. Scanning the area, he confirmed he was in the right spot. The 30th floor of the endless staircase, a hidden wall on the right, a classic corridor, and candles flickering with green flames. And right there stood a giant obsidian door. A voice echoed from inside. "Hello, this is our first meeting. What brings you here?" It was the Vine Witch speaking. Kim Dane said, "I want you to use sealing magic to lock away 2 of my personal diaries. One records detailed logs of this world, while the other holds the future. Also, this box contains your payment for the sealing." The witch opened the chest and admired the gorgeous gems. Agreeing to the deal, she asked how long the seal needed to last. Kim Dane replied for both, "Until the day I die." The witch could only let out a soft sigh. Then she began chanting the spell to lock up the books, while Kim Dane quietly watched them glow. The witch declared that from now on, only the owner could read these pages. Kim Dane politely thanked her for the help. As he walks away, you and I can feel the weight on him when she tells him to stay strong on this tough road, making him freeze. He replied, "Someone has to do it." But secretly, he knew the witch from the original Webtoon had never said anything this nice. Afterwards, Kim Dane went up to a building rooftop all by himself. He had only one real reason for wanting to survive in this crazy world, and her name was Stardust. Knowing even worse disasters lay ahead, he yelled out to the night sky, "Stardust, believe in me!" Just then, his phone rang. It was dinner time, and everyone was waiting for him. Kim Dane smiled warmly and answered, "I am already on my way. I will be back in 3 seconds." And just like that, the first act of our story was rapidly coming to an end. A bit later, deep inside some dark control room, a mysterious figure whispered, "The time has finally come." Suddenly, with a massive boom, a giant drill machine erupted from the ground, getting bigger by the second. As this giant robot starts tearing Korea apart, you and I are definitely going to want to see what happens next. All right, you and I are heading back to a boring university classroom, where some students are watching an Agostic video, wondering if he is dating that gorgeous girl, Elix. Shinharu overhears them from behind, just as another classmate argues that they are definitely just comrades. Like, seriously, who carries a platonic female friend bridal style on camera? They looked way too cozy for that. Is this just single people coping? No way. They only hug on camera because they are strictly platonic. If he actually liked her, he would be way too nervous. Honestly, that actually makes complete sense. In fact, Agostic has kept up that exact vibe from the very beginning. Everyone knows his heart belongs to Stardust, which is why I honestly feel so bad for her. That live stream literally had me tearing up. Even if she sees Agostic as a villain, she has to care at least a little, right? Cradling another girl right in front of her is savage. Still, someone else thinks Agostic and Alex look way better together. Right then, they notice Shinharu aggressively tapping her desk. He whispers to his buddy, wondering if he messed up. Is she some hardcore shipper for Agostic and Stardust? Luckily, the professor saves them by starting the lecture. Now, pay attention because right in the middle of class, a crazy emergency alert hits. She packs her gear bolts out and frantically calls headquarters to see if a villain has popped up. Headquarters confirms a massive, unknown weapon is stomping through the southeastern suburbs, and Stardust is needed on the double. Sprinting straight from the Korean Hero Association, Stardust is totally floored by the absolute unit of a giant robot standing there. One single step from this beast could flatten a building. Suddenly, a tiny car is about to get completely pancaked. A flash of light darts right under the giant metal foot, and Stardust pulls the car to safety. She tells the drivers to floor it if the engine still works, then charges right back at the mechanical monstrosity as a booming voice echoes from inside. Stardust, lapdog of the Korean Association. Can you stop the final spark of the Hanon group? Stardust powers up and delivers a heavy punch, but the massive robot just swats her away like a fly. She can barely process how ridiculously strong this thing is, but she scrambles back up and charges the metal titan once more. Suddenly, a panicked voice calls out from the mech, asking the doctor what went wrong, followed by another familiar shout. Electric Beast, go! Just like that, the Titan trips and faceplants hard on the pavement. As the smoke clears, a familiar voice asks if she can hear him, and you and I both know it is Agostic. Turns out the massive mech went totally haywire because Team Ego was busy hijacking the cockpit controls. Kim Dane laughs, declaring that since Hanon Group built such a flashy toy, he just had to crash the party. As a premier villain, skipping a test drive would be criminal, so he unleashes his most dramatic evil laugh. Joyce Sahi groans that Kim Diane is a total cringe lord when he role-plays, but soon sighs that she will get used to it. Kim Dame keeps up the act, threatening to level the entire city with his sweet new ride. Can she stop him? Hearing those words actually pumps Stardust up as she promises to bring him down. She transforms into a beam of pure light, blitzing the mech, while Seoin tells Kim Dane that power calibration is done. Kim Dane grabs the joysticks, thinking to himself that today, Haru is getting a massive level up. The mech's giant arm whirs to life, smashing head-on into Stardust's incoming punch. Her raw power cannot match this metal beast yet, giving Kim Dane the perfect opening for some classic villain trash talk. Stardust, you really think you can stop this giant weapon octopus with that weak power? Do not make me laugh. But underneath the trash talk, he whispers to Seoin to crank up the juice and finish this quickly. Unleashing maximum firepower, the robot starts throwing wild haymakers at Stardust. Stardust instantly realizes she needs to get way more nimble to dodge these heavy blows. She is still too slow. She has to push past her limits, moving like absolute grease lightning to dance around the rapid-fire strikes. Perfect. This is exactly what Kim Dane wanted. He might actually go home tonight without breaking a single bone for once. Meanwhile, in a secret bunker, a report is whispered. The Korean president listens grimly to the news. He knows there is only one drastic way to stop this ultimate weapon. With one press, he fires a super missile, leaving us waiting to see if everything gets blown to pieces. All right, you and I are diving right back in while Seoin and Kim Dane are still totally glued to their robot controls. She seemed completely clueless about what was coming next. Stardust easily dodged the flamethrower attacks, and right then, Kim Dane decided it was time to step things up. He said to push the output to the next level because Stardust could totally handle the heat. Even Stardust was getting hyped, landing a monstrous punch that sent shockwaves rippling through the giant machine. Inside, the crew was spinning around like crazy, but Kim Dane just slammed the pedal to keep pushing ahead. It was time to flex those legendary arcade joystick skills he had been practicing for years. Stardust was finally catching her groove as her power kept leveling up, and she silently yelled for Agostic to bring it on. She was slowly but surely predicting every single robot attack. With Agostic still waiting for her, she needed to wrap this up fast. But then, bam, the robot sent her flying with a massive punch. Kim Dane immediately started trash-talking, asking if she really thought she had his moves all figured out. Talk about pure overconfidence. That petty mockery got Stardust incredibly heated. Even so, this octopus machine was seriously impressive, as Stardust threw a lightning-fast straight punch. Her fist smashed straight into one of its legs, making Seon scream at Kim Dane, "Bro, what are you doing?" Kim Dane just smirked, saying this was the fun part, before ordering the octopus robot to crank up the power. But nothing happened. So Kim Dane yelled for more power again. Seon finally wrestled back control of the machine, and with a heavy groan, the giant robot started moving again. Kim Dane kept baiting her, asking if that speed was all she had, while the live chat went absolutely wild. Like, is this even real? You and I are watching a straight-up clash of the strongest beings on Earth. Was this really the same Stardust everyone called useless? The hype was so real, fans were practically sweating. Could Stardust actually reach S rank this time? Meanwhile, Seowon and Kim Dane were still bickering inside the cockpit. Hearing them argue just ticked Stardust off more, giving her another massive reason to absolutely wreck this giant weapon. Without Agostic, she never would have found the strength to take down this insane giant machine. But now she could. Stardust charged straight at the robot, hitting it so hard the entire metal frame rattled. Chosei couldn't help but gasp in shock, wondering why this hero seemed way stronger than before. Sewon warned that the engine was hitting its limit and they only had 10 minutes to finish this. But Kim Dane just wanted to enjoy it till the end, making Seowon snap and call him a maniac. The robot was literally about to blow, and poor Lee Subabin was getting majorly carsick inside, while Stardust suddenly soared high above them. She was aiming right for the core because she knew that was where Agostic was hiding. Right then, the association sent her a frantic message telling her to get out of there immediately. The president had just launched a tactical nuke at the robot, and if she stayed, she was toast. Stardust froze. Was the president out of his mind? A nuclear blast there would put countless innocent civilians in danger. Like, she was already winning, so why the heck would they do this? The association helplessly explained that the president was just trying to save face. It was a national decision, and they couldn't stop it. They told her to stop asking questions and run for her life. But Kim Dane still knew nothing. Oblivious to the danger, Kim Dane kept trash-talking her, asking how long she was going to just stand there, saying his robot's fists were itching. But Stardust realized Agostic had stopped fighting and was actually waiting for her. Was he seriously a villain who cared about heroes? He had no clue a nuke was coming, so Stardust just yanked off her earpiece. In the blink of an eye, she sprinted straight toward the danger. The association staff panicked when she ditched her comms, but the president calmly told everyone that it was going to be fine. He said if they just sat back and observed, the outcome would show itself, so they should keep watching. Kim Dane had zero clue what Stardust was planning, assuming she was just fleeing like a coward. Sure, Agostic was a major threat, and the government had a million reasons to take him out. He was a bad guy who did kidnappings and crimes, but for some weird reason, Stardust couldn't bring herself to hate him. And as she flies right toward that nuke, you and I know things are about to get wild. All right, you and I are diving into this madness as a missile closes in. Stardust remembers Agostic's words, "You owe me." That promise locks in her resolve to stop this nuke. Before the weapon can detonate, Stardust flies in and blocks it head-on. The crazy force of the impact pushes her to her absolute limits. Kim Dane finally spots something blazing through the sky toward them, totally confused about what it is, until he recognizes it. Wait, is that a literal missile? He is completely flabbergasted. Stardust is straining with every muscle to hold back the weapon. Finally, the missile's engine power starts to fade. Grabbing that chance, she violently shifts its direction and yeets it straight up into the clouds. Kim Dane frantically yells, "So can you find out what's happening?" He is totally clueless and frantically trying to trace the launch point of this deadly weapon. Sean cracks the code almost instantly. I got it. It is a nuclear warhead launched directly from the president's office, but we only have 10 seconds before it goes boom. Watch closely right here. The Korean president is looking super smug, but at the very last second, Stardust grabs the giant nuke and blasts off with it. Meanwhile, Frostblade is just casually out there doing some shopping. Kim Dane is completely frozen, having no clue what to do. Lugging the heavy weapon Stardust pushes herself to fly higher and higher. At the very last second, she chucks the missile away with crazy power. With a deafening boom, a massive mushroom cloud erupts. The nuke finally blows up high in the atmosphere. Lee Hae-yu witnesses this, and the Hero Association president drops his popcorn in shock. The Korean president's face instantly drops in anger. So and Cho Sa-hee have never seen anything so wild. Kim Dane can't help but scream out her name, Stardust. Right then, Stardust completely drains her power reserve and begins free-falling from the heavens. Luckily, a hand swoops in and catches her. Kim Dane yells in frustration, "What were you thinking? Who told you to help? What if you died?" He cradles Stardust tight and makes a safe landing on the dirt. Our boy didn't expect a girl with godlike power to feel so incredibly soft in his arms. But Stardust gives him a weird look, making his chest tighten. Oh crap, is she about to throw hands? Why is she staring at him like that? Is she mad that a villain is carrying her joy? He quickly blabbers, "Stardust, I thought you bailed like a coward. How did you zoom over so fast? Why would you block that nuke anyway?" Its target was that giant octopus weapon. That massive boss was already half trashed, and a direct hit would have completely taken it out. If we missed that, the whole city of Egum would be vaporized. "So why did you stop it?" Stardust whispers her reply. "That's why. Let's just call it even for that favor I owed you." After muttering that, she passes out. But wait, what was that smile about? You and I both know she might have figured out he's not just some simple bad guy. Luckily, she is out of the danger zone thanks to her being absolutely built like a tank. Suddenly So chimes in on the comms, "Bro, the president personally ordered that strike." Kim Dane realizes everything has gone completely off the rails. If the public sees Stardust catching a nuke for them, people are going to ship him and Stardust like crazy. He cannot let that ship sail. So he barks, "So turn on the stream." Sean was totally ready and goes live in a split second. Kim Dane looks right into the lens and says, "Hey y'all, it's Egostic." The chat goes wild. The viewers are spamming questions about what went down after Stardust rocketed away and the feed cut off. Kim Dane says, "Want to know where Stardust is? She's right here." Seeing her knocked out cold sends shockwaves through the audience. Some ask if she lost, while others trash Egostic for crossing the line. Kim Dane coldly states, "Guys, I didn't do this. This was all the president who was so desperate to kill a villain like me that he launched a nuke at the city, a country's leader using weapons of mass destruction on a single villain." The internet is absolutely losing its mind. And trust me, you and I are about to watch this corrupt president get completely canceled for targeting. Egostic,